Super Television. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76 Prison Rescue. 2 months. Many things have changed. Not only was the Special Forces not disbanded, but a special combat team was also established, with Roadhog as the team commander. Duke was in an awkward situation because the nanoworm solution in his body could not be extracted at all, so he could only temporarily retain his position as a member of the Special Forces. In addition to them, the team also had members such as Phylon, Jane, Snake Eyes, etc. As for the original team, they were all disbanded and assigned to other teams. The order to disband the Special Forces was issued by the President of the White House himself. The person who pretended to be the president to deploy personnel transfers was Satan, a member of Cobra. Satan was originally a master of disguise, and with the magical effect of the nanoworm solution, the president he imitated was so impersonated that outsiders could not tell him apart from his appearance. Satan imprisoned the real president, while he himself represented the president, the country's top leader, outside and made a series of actions and measures, including severely cracking down on the Special Forces and implementing an annihilation plan against them. The coordinates of the Special Forces were clear, and the planes sent by Satan carried out a series of bombings. The Special Forces suffered heavy casualties, and even Duke died. In the end, only 3 people survived from the powerful army: Roadhog, Phylon, and Jane. The 3 escaped, packed up their military badges, set off lightly, and rushed back to Roadhog's hometown overnight. Several people have felt betrayed and their coordinates leaked, and the biggest suspect is the Supreme Commander, Mr. President. Several people have to find evidence and clues to wait for the final counterattack. At this time, the fake President Satan is holding a press conference, seriously declaring that the Special Forces member Snake Eyes assassinated the leader of another country. At the same time, the Special Forces want to control Pakistan's nuclear weapons arsenal to create chaos and seek benefits. This series of events is treason, and therefore they want to hold a joint hearing of various countries to discuss the issue of nuclear weapons. White Ghost has been communicating with Satan. This attack was caused by him pretending to be Snake Eyes. His purpose is to find a way to rescue the masked man Rex and the 2 people who were imprisoned in prison after being caught. Snake Eyes, this is your final destination. I am the Warden James. Nice to meet you. I am your loyal fan. I like your black color. It is quite fashionable. James nagging all the way, taking the fake Snake Eyes into the prison. Jing was with Firefly at this time. Firefly was a veteran member of Cobra. He was a rough white man with a scar on his forehead, which looked extremely hideous. This guy loved to play with bombs. His bombs were small flying mechanical fireflies. When they exploded repeatedly, they were enough to blow people to pieces. Hey, man, I heard that you are the senior brother of Bailing, the expressionless guy. Firefly approached Jing in a nonchalant manner. He didn't have a good relationship with Bailing. What he hated most was seeing that Bailing always looked like he didn't care about anything. At this time, even Jing, who claimed to be Bailing's senior brother, began to dislike him. Jing closed his eyes and said nothing. Firefly's knuckles cracked and he approached again, saying, "Little pretty boy, don't pretend you can't hear me. If you don't want to die, stay away from me." Jing frowned. He was already a little undecided about rescuing Rex, and this damn ugly man was still trying to get close to him. The setting of this world was really a bit messy. The government was unreliable, and the villains were a bit helpless. It was really confusing. Are these teammates like pigs? There were only a few useful people in Cobra. Anna rebelled, and White Ghost would soon be here. Firefly was just a thug. McAllen could only cheat, and Dr. Rex could only pretend to be a bit stupid, research, and talk nonsense. None of them was reliable. If they wanted to subvert the plot and history, they would definitely lose everything this time and space unless they used ruthless drugs. Boy, don't. Pot tilde Jing pulled out with his backhand. Damn, didn't you see that I was already annoyed, and you were still trying to get close to me? Firefly was slapped in the face, flying several meters away. and fell to the ground. His head was buzzing, and there was a deep red mark as wide as a palm on his face. It took a long time for him to recover. Shaking his head, Firefly gritted his teeth and climbed up. He just didn't pay attention just now. He must teach this bastard a hard lesson. Bah, fuck, bang tilde Li Jing kicked out and kicked Firefly, who was rushing over again, more than 10 meters away. Puff tilde Firefly opened his mouth and spurted out a mouthful of blood. He fell to the ground and opened his mouth again, but he couldn't make any sound. He felt that even the pain seemed to be frozen. When his nerves were slightly relieved, he felt that his intestines seemed to be broken. The Firefly covered his stomach and screamed and rolled. Not long after, Li Jing looked at his watch and turned around to get on a motorcycle. It's time. Get up. Don't let me do it again. Perhaps evil will be punished by evil. Firefly, who finally recovered, tried to get up without saying a word, rubbing his belly while walking towards another motorcycle. Firefly's injury was not serious. He had a mission to complete. Li Jing knew what he was doing. This time, he just wanted to make Firefly an obedient mark, which might be useful later. Woo tilde 2 motorcycles were driving on the small road at a very fast speed. These motorcycles were assembled from high-tech products, equipped with guns and small missiles, and could also disintegrate by themselves into 6 self-service flying tracking missiles. In other words, what they were riding was not a motorcycle at all, but a large bomb that looked like a motorcycle. Squeak tilde Firefly, who was leading the way, suddenly braked, and Li Jing followed and stopped. The destination had been reached. Firefly looked back at Li Jing. Seeing Li Jing waving his hand, Firefly took out a box containing insect bombs. The box was pulled open, forming a circular iron column with a diameter of 7 or 8 centimeters. However, there were numerous flying insect bombs erected on it. With a slight sound, the insect bombs flew up and spread forward. Firefly used the controller on his wrist to directly control these little guys to find targets and carry out targeted blasting and killing. Boom tilde. After a while, there were explosions in front. Firefly looked at Li Jing and saw Li Jing nod. He started the motorcycle and rushed forward. Li Jing did not try the motorcycle again, but put it into the tattoo space and walked forward slowly. At this time, Li Jing was wearing a black high-tech bulletproof military uniform. He was 1.78 meters tall, with leopard-like lines, and a handsome but slightly cold face. He did have the posture of a superior. Chapter 77 Zeus Project. If you want to hear more of your voices and receive more of your suggestions, search for the WeChat public account Kdred and follow it now to give more support to Super TV. Firefly machine guns fired directly blasting the prison gate, and several small missiles were fired. The front was blown into a mess, and there was no effective resistance at all. The motorcycle jumped into the gate, and Firefly jumped down directly in midair. The motorcycle disintegrated by itself and turned into a flying missile. With a propulsion boost, it flew forward. Boom tilde. The road was smooth, and when Li Jing arrived, Firefly had already opened up the way. The two took the elevator to the underground prison. After the door opened, Firefly threw several round bombs as big as oranges into the room. This kind of bomb was not a gunpowder bomb, but relied on the ejection of steel nails to kill enemies within a few meters. Bang tilde. After a few screams, it was quiet inside. Li Jing and the other entered the room. At this time, Bailing had already rescued Dr. Mask, but no one cared about McAllen's life or death. Bailing pushed open the door and joined Li Jing. He looked exhausted with his bare chest. Firefly, my old friend, long time no see. Rick's unique rough voice came out. Sir. Firefly saluted. He respected Rick's very much. Rick's was wearing a full face mask now. He was not very old, but he had to change his voice to be very mature. Moreover, he had taken over McAllen's business and called himself the commander-in-chief of Cobra. His stall was indeed very big, but he was an unlucky guy who was more likely to fail than to succeed. Firefly, that one over there is for you. Li Jing's sudden words startled the other three. In their hearts, Li Jing had always been a man who didn't talk much. Although Firefly was surprised, he still followed Li Jing's instructions and walked to the Warden James to kill him. Li Jing had had enough. The bad luck of Cobra was like a curse, and it couldn't be stopped at all. If White Ghost was seriously injured by fire like in the original book, Li Jing felt like an idiot. Black Ghost, it's been a long time since I last saw you. Rick's rough voice came again. Rix, it seems that you have been doing well recently and you are in high spirits. You should focus on your research in the future. The commander of Cobra is not suitable for you. Oh? Li Jing's words shocked several people present. White Ghost was shocked and had a bad premonition. Black Ghost, are you going to rebel against Cobra? Such a result is not something you can bear. Rix was very ambitious. No matter who this person was, he would not tolerate outsiders interfering in his plans. Li Jing smiled slightly and didn't care about Rix's weak threat. Haha. Rix, your brain is only suitable for research. As for other things, you don't have to worry about it anymore. White Ghost, kill him for me. Rix's unpleasant voice became even colder. White Ghost was stunned for a moment, but did not take action immediately. There was no need. First, he could not kill Li Jing at all, and second, he had never thought of killing Li Jing. Firefly, take action. Seeing that White Ghost did not take action, Rix gave an order to Firefly beside him in a rage. Firefly was also stunned and distracted. What was going on? Wasn't it an agreed rescue operation? Why did he feel like he was caught in an unexpected disaster and was shot while lying down? The two lessons Li Jing had taught him before had already made him slightly aware of the gap between them, and White Ghost beside him did not take action. Honey, I am an expert in playing with bombs, and I am not as good as White Ghost in fighting. Okay. Li Jing smiled slightly and said, how about you do it yourself, Commander? Maybe you can knock me down with just a light punch. The effect in front of him was expected by Li Jing. The lesson he taught Firefly before was not just for venting. Black Phantom, I was wrong. Why did you save me? Rix had already understood. At this moment and here, his words were no longer effective. There were only 4 people alive in the field, and Li Jing should have the highest force value, so it was obviously irrational to fight to the death now. You can think of yourself as still valuable. White Phantom, take him with you. It's time to go. Li Jing was the first to leave the room. Rix didn't say anything else. There was no need. Following closely behind him were White Phantom and Firefly. The two people who originally disliked each other looked at each other tacitly at this time. They understood the meaning in each other's eyes at the same time. The sky is about to change. This has a sense of everything being self-evident. The 4 people left the underground prison and took a plane back to the base. Satellite weapons are being manufactured here, preparing to implement the Zeus plan. The so-called satellite weapons, to put it bluntly, are space-based weapons developed in reality. They can directly drop tungsten rods from space satellites to the ground, perform satellite positioning and achieve precision strikes. This kind of weapon does not require any power facilities, because the Earth's gravity is the best accelerator. After the tungsten rod is dropped, its initial speed is 8 times that of a bullet, and it will get faster and faster. When it reaches the surface of the Earth, this impact will cause violent movement of the land, thus achieving shock waves equivalent to an earthquake. The power of this weapon is much greater than that of a nuclear bomb. Any shelter facility is like paper in front of it, and defense is impossible. Interception is also difficult to achieve due to speed issues. The only way to prevent it is to shoot down the satellite itself in advance. Sir, welcome back. A soldier stepped forward and saluted respectfully to Rex. Guards, assemble. Catch this traitor, snapped. Li Jing waved his hand, and the force of the scabbard directly knocked Rex out 10 meters away. Even the mask on Rex's head was cracked and was about to break. All the soldiers present were a little stunned and at a loss. Firefly, order the soldiers to assemble. Li Jing waved to White Ghost, signaling him to catch Rex. White Ghost hesitated a little, but still walked towards Rex. Li Jing's martial arts value was originally higher than his, and now it is even more unfathomable. White Ghost has no confidence in escaping from Li Jing's knife. Yes, escape, not fight. Firefly didn't expect to return to the base and still be in this situation. Seeing that White Ghost executed Li Jing's order, he saluted and replied after a little thought, "Yes, sir." The soldiers in the field felt a little stupid. What's going on? Just after saying hello to the commander, The commander was beaten. There are people who want to take up weapons to rescue the commander, but what's the rhythm of White Ghost and Firefly? Rex has many die-hard fans, and he also controls some important personnel with nano-worm solution. Unfortunately, control also requires a remote control in hand. Even if voice control can do it, Li Jing doesn't care. Come on, go for it. There's no need to be too careful. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now. Click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner. Search for the public account Gdred and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 78, Commander-in-Chief. The number of cells controlled by Li Jing has reached 40 billion, and chakra is very compatible with his cells. That is to say, as long as one of the abilities is upgraded, the other will also be upgraded, which is a virtuous circle. In addition, there are many high-tech equipment that can be used. In the past 2 months, Li Jing has analyzed many genetic tissues such as ants, fleas, bats, venomous snakes, lizards, geckos, etc. The effect of the second level superpower is a qualitative sublimation. If Li Jing's own strength is 6,000 kilograms in one hand, then in the state of simulating ant genes, he has at least tens of thousands of kilograms or even hundreds of thousands of kilograms of strength. If the previous rhino tissue can defend against pistol bullets, then the current rhino tissue is enough to defend against close-range rifle shooting. If you are too cautious and tied up, you can't do anything. If you still rely on Rex to start a war, the possibility of failure is still relatively large. Come on, arrange your own destiny. From today on, everything is up to you. Hundreds of members of the Cobra organization were gathered together. Li Jing and his 4 companions walked onto a high platform, looking at the soldiers whispering to each other below. Li Jing's thoughts became more determined. Soldiers, be quiet. The commander is going to speak. As if he understood the situation, Firefly stood up and said something to show his loyalty. What commander? Traitor, let him go. Brothers, take your weapons. Fuck. Damn you. Boom. A loud noise silenced the whole place. The steel tower under Li Jing's feet was stepped on heavily. It shook violently for a few times as if it could not bear the weight, and even sank a distance visible to the naked eye. Those who want to continue to follow your commander Rex, please stand up. Hundreds of soldiers did not speak. After a few seconds, a group of diehards stood up. They all carried weapons. They were afraid of hurting Rex before, so they did not take action. Dog shit, come and die, traitor. We banged. Li Jing didn't waste any words. He stepped hard on the platform and flew down, straight into the crowd. The crowd immediately scattered in chaos, trying to turn the muzzle of the gun and find a target to shoot. Unfortunately, the gap was too big. Li Jing drew his tang sword and cut it horizontally without saying a word. Swish swish, the blade passed by, and 2 soldiers were directly cut in half. Blood sprayed, bones broken too, and the broken bodies fell to the ground. They didn't even have time to scream, and they died directly. Several soldiers opened their eyes wide and howled loudly. They raised their guns and fired at Li Jing's position regardless of whether they would accidentally hurt him. Li Jing sneered, moved his feet, and dodged the shooting range of the bullets. Although he was not afraid, there was no need to be a living target. He kept using the tang sword in his hand and took several more lives. Shit. Die chain reaction. In order to protect themselves, everyone started to pull the trigger, and gunfire rang out for a while. Unfortunately, Li Jing was not hit, but several of their own brothers were injured by mistake. Li Jing's force is simply beyond the reach of ordinary people. A random punch can beat a person to death, and a kick is enough to kick a person's intestines and stomach. Not much time has passed, and there are less than 20 soldiers standing in the field. The rest were either cut in half or killed by heavy blows. None of the bodies are intact. Enough, Black Phantom. You have the final say in Cobra from now on. On the high platform, Rex shouted in a hoarse voice. He had to do something. These soldiers were his team. Even if he wanted to turn the tables in the future, he would have to rely on them. He could not let them die tragically in such a useless battle. Swish-oh, Rex, since I have the final say, then continue with this last attack. Li Jing put away his sword and stood up, answering casually without looking back, but the slight smile on his face made people shudder. Those who can survive are lucky. Li Jing made seals with one hand, and the speed was extremely fast, at least 3 seals per second. Fire escape, great fireball technique. Li Jing opened his mouth and spit out a fireball with a diameter of 7 or 8 meters. The fierce high-temperature flames enveloped the remaining 20 soldiers. Demon ghost boom. The screams stopped suddenly, and the field was silent. When the flames disappeared, everyone present stared at everything in front of them in amazement. There was nothing, not even a charred corpse or a gun could be found. Where the flames passed, there were only pools of ashes made up of a black mixture. White Ghost was also shocked at this time. He was the only one who had seen Li Jing use the Great Fireball ninjutsu twice, but this was not comparable at all. The fireball used by Li Jing to attack him was only 3 meters in diameter. Did he hold back at that time, or was Li Jing growing too fast? No matter which one it was, White Ghost couldn't imagine how he would save his life when facing such an attack. Yes, save his life, not to resolve it. This attack method was too incredible. Even though he was already practicing chakra, White Ghost still had a few drops of cold sweat on his forehead. Black Phantom, Rix felt cold on his back and didn't know what to say. None of the dozens of people who stood up survived. Only the smell of burnt corpses in the air could prove that they had indeed appeared. Li Jing slowly walked back to the platform. The slight sound of his footsteps directly pressed on everyone's mind. Looking down, no one jumped out to insult him at this time, and even the slight whispering did not exist. The air in the field seemed to condense into a ball, and the silence made people a little depressed. I don't care what happened to you in the past. There is only one rule for me, and that is to obey orders. Obey orders firmly. Do you hear me clearly? There was complete silence. Everyone was frightened. This was not the age of magic, but the age of technology. The appearance of the fireball directly destroyed everyone's worldview. Soldiers, the commander is questioning you. Are you all mute? Firefly is sharp-minded and knows how to deal with things. He sees it clearly. If he doesn't show his loyalty now, then when will he show it? Obey orders. Obey orders. Obey orders. Obey orders firmly. Hundreds of soldiers in the field shouted in unison. Although they were not so uniform, the sound was getting louder and louder. Li Jing put his hands together, signaling everyone to be quiet. When the noise in the venue died down, he said, Cobra is an organization, so we must have a common goal. The original plan remains unchanged, and we will continue to do what we did before. After a slight pause, Li Jing continued, starting today, Cobra will implement a contribution point reward system. If any of you make a significant contribution to the organization, not only will your military rank be upgraded, but you will also gain various magical abilities taught by me personally. So, be cruel to your enemies, but treat your own people like brothers. The organization is your best choice. Did you hear me clearly? Long live the Commander-in-Chief. Long live the Commander-in-Chief. Long live the Commander-in-Chief. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 79. The storm is coming. I don't know who shouted in the field, but the position of the Commander-in-Chief, which originally belonged to Rix, was officially changed. The shouts of hundreds of soldiers made Li Jing's blood boil. He felt like he was going to overthrow the president and become the emperor tomorrow. He shuddered and quickly threw this strange thought out of his mind. Terrorist organizations must have slogans to shout and cohesion, otherwise, they have few people and they are divided. There are all kinds of people, spies, betrayals, surrenders, and all kinds of events will sooner or later drag down the organization. Whether everyone is sincere in their support or perfunctory in order to save their lives, Li Jing doesn't care about these. As long as he obeys orders, he wants results, not the illusory position of commander. The soldiers were disbanded and returned to their original positions one by one. The base returned to peace again. The ashes of the dead bodies were swept away. If there was no slight smell of burnt corpses in the air, I'm afraid no one would know that dozens of people had just died here. Li Jing and the other three came to a luxurious room. He turned around and sat on the sofa. He reached out and poured a glass of champagne himself, then took a sip. Rex, hand over all the passwords and information. You can continue your research on nanoworms in the future. Hee. Black Phantom, I'm afraid that after I hand over all my cards, I will have no value in existence, right? Rex didn't seem to be afraid at all. He found a place and sat down automatically. His posture was very leisurely. There were many bases of Cobra, and there were countless secret weapons and various resources. Li Jing only occupied one base. What was this? It was just a temporary upper hand. Without Rex's password, no one else could use these resources. Hey, Rex, it seems you still don't know me very well. What? Swish a black light flashed, and no one in the field noticed where Li Jing pulled out the knife. Even White Ghost was no exception. What direction, when, or even what action? All they could see and hear was Rex's right hand that had fallen to the ground, and his rough and hoarse screams. Rex, I hate trouble the most, and bargaining happens to be a relatively troublesome thing. Do you understand now? A few drops of blood splashed on the champagne glass, and Li Jing frowned and threw it away. The sudden pain had pierced Rex's nerves. He fell to the ground, holding his bleeding right wrist tightly, and roared with gritted teeth. Black Phantom, you are cruel enough. Maybe you are more suitable for the position of commander than me, but you can't get anything useful from me. Haha whatever. I actually thought you could use nanoworms to achieve limb regeneration technology. It seems that you are just so-so. You have been fighting for so long, but you are still a waste. Li Jing waved his hand, not caring about Rex's hatred. Regeneration of broken limbs? Rex's pupils shrank suddenly. The scientist got an inspiration. Just like a drug addict who was addicted to drugs, he didn't care about the pain in his right hand and struggled to get up. Don't struggle, since you're unwilling to say, your value is useless. White Phantom, kill him. Li Jing smiled slightly and shook his head at Rex, who wanted to stand up. No, I'll give you everything. I want to continue the experiment. Continue the experiment. Seeing the White Ghost approaching, Rex didn't even bother to get up and hurriedly shouted to stop him. Oh, you figured it out so quickly? Yes, I can give you everything, but I need a complete laboratory. You have to promise not to kill me. Although Rex was much weaker due to excessive blood loss, his voice and spirit sounded like a loyal believer who had a second spring. Okay, your life is nothing to me. It would be great if you can continue the research and show your value. Rex nodded and said nothing. There was no need. Li Jing agreed and agreed. Even if he regretted it later, Rex would take this gamble. The way back was death, but there was still a glimmer of hope if he moved forward. After bandaging the wound, Rex told all the secrets, and Li Jing officially took over all the bases of Cobra. The McAllen family made its fortune in the military industry and has dominated the position of the global arms giant for several generations. The assets and resources accumulated by it cannot be explained in a few words. Although Rex did not inherit all the McAllen family industries, he has been with McAllen for so long that he has a lot of cards in his hand. Li Jing built a sealed laboratory for Rex, which almost does not need to be guarded. The reason for this trouble is that although Rex is dangerous, he has to admit that he is indeed a genius scientist. When the benefits can outweigh the side effects, Li Jing chose to take a gamble. Dang 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 tilde faster, faster, dang 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 tilde White Ghost. Is this your limit? I am so disappointed. Snake Eyes is faster than you. Tilde dang hum tilde. The blade trembled, and it kept making a buzzing sound because of the excessive force. This is a large training room. The whole room is empty. The floor is also made of the latest nanomaterials with good elasticity, protection, breathability and water absorption. Tilde White Ghost held the knife with one hand, half knelt on the ground, and kept panting, but his eyes became more and more fierce. Snake Eyes is both his brother and his nemesis. After Li Jing's special training, White Ghost is sure to kill him within a few dozen moves, but no one knows whether White Ghost can make that fatal blow. Perhaps the answer to this question is not even certain for White Ghost himself. White Ghost, It's not that you are strong, that you are ruthless, and it's not that you can kill enemies with loud voices. You know your heart, and I don't want to use my knife to prove yourself in the end. Li Jing casually stuck the ordinary alloy knife in his hand into the ground, turned around and stood with his hands behind his back. HMPH. I will never show mercy. The veins on Bay Ghost's hands bulged, and the look in his eyes became colder and colder. White Ghost, Master Gang has been dead for so long, you should also consider who the real murderer is. When Zeus's plan is completed, I can hand the murderer over to you for disposal. Bay Ghost was shocked. After so many years, he certainly had some considerations and clues. Otherwise he would not let Snake Eyes and others rebel just by talking about it. The death of the master was the biggest knot in his heart, and the murderer was the person he wanted to kill the most. Satan, your life, wait for me to take it. Bay Ghost clenched his fingers, and his cold eyes were even colder than before. Satan, the murderer, this was a question that made him more angry than Snake Eyes' misunderstanding. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 80 Nuclear Summit. In an unknown basement, bang tilde this punches for your taxation. TSK, as if you have paid taxes. Not necessarily for myself. Firefly turned around and smiled, and then prepared to punch again. Hey, 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 he is still useful. Satan stopped playing with his phone, stood up on the chair, and stopped him. Besides, we have feelings for each other. Satan smiled slightly. At this time, the image of the president he dressed up was exactly the same as the real president who was sitting and being beaten. He had white hair, a thin face, a few wrinkles, and 2 short white eyebrows. He looked to be in his 50s or 60s. I really don't think your cabinet is good. The real president tied to the chair smiled coldly as if mocking. Satan waved his hand nonchalantly and said, well, it's just that there is no hearing. Just accept it. Click tilde. The door was opened, and Li Jing and Bei Ling came in one after another. He was wearing a black military uniform and there was a huge king cobra on his back. The original logo of Cobra was very interesting, so Li Jing did not move it. This logo looked like 2 scales that stood up when the king cobra attacked, but from a distance, it looked like the eyes of a cobra. Mr. President, tonight is your last day in office. How are you doing? Li Jing laughed and walked closer, ignoring Satan and Firefly. It's good to visit the president. It's rare. I wonder when the cobra changed its owner, and it's an Asian. Seeing Li Jing's appearance, the president was a little surprised. Haha, don't look down on yellow-skinned people, and your questions are too time-consuming. Let's do something serious next. Li Jing waved his hand, and the person behind him brought a briefcase over. This briefcase is the control center for nuclear missile launches. Controlling it is equivalent to controlling the entire country's nuclear weapons equipment library. Let's get started. The briefcase was opened. It was a box-type electronic device. The screen was full of the total control channel of nuclear weapons. The Firefly behind the president stepped forward to pry open his eyes. Li Jing picked up the retinal scanning device in the briefcase and smiled slightly. The device began to scan, and the blue mesh rays copied the president's retina completely. The nuclear weapon launch control console was officially launched. At this time, the special forces were ready. Roadhog, Film, and Jane had stolen the DNA test of the fake president Satan long before and discovered Satan's identity. With evidence, Roadhog found General Kelton, the founder of the Special Forces. The weapons and ammunition hidden in General Kelton's home for many years were taken out, including heavy guns and even a tank with a very simple appearance. With complete equipment, Roadhog and his 3 men, together with Kelton and several old comrades, Snake Eyes and White Ghost's cousin Jinx, although they did not have the Cobra intelligence brought by White Ghost's rebellion, they also knew through monitoring Satan, the fake president, that the upcoming joint nuclear summit of leaders of various countries would be a huge conspiracy trap. Everything is ready, waiting for the outbreak of the final battle. Comrades of Kelton, welcome to join us. You will be responsible for the periphery first. Phylan, Jane, Snake Eyes, you will attack from both sides. Jinx will be the insider, and Satan will be carrying the briefcase at that time. We must seize the opportunity and attack the interior of the venue. We must not let Satan. Phylon interrupted Roadhog. He took the map and pointed. Wait a minute, the enemy has deployed armored positions here, and here, right? Once the armored vehicles come, we will all be finished. I'll deal with the armored vehicles. Roadhog took over the task and prepared to deal with it himself. He turned to look at Kelton again. General? Call me a special forces soldier. Kelton replied. The country does not allow old antiques like him to make a comeback, but he found a different loophole and re-enlisted as a new recruit. Is there anything missing? Roadhog said. No. Kelton paused and continued. It's watertight. What's my mission? Rescue the president. Kelton took a breath and said, let Brenda work with me. Brenda is Jane. Just a name. She rolled her eyes slightly, obviously not getting along with the old man Kelton. Does Brenda have a choice? No. Brenda curled her lips and rolled her eyes again, and said speechlessly, do you need a pen? I need your help. Okay. Road Bully interrupted the two people's bickering and said, we're going to do a big thing. Let's go. Let's go. Everyone responded in unison. Time passed and the date arrived. It was a sunny day, Fort Samot, North Carolina. This is a very small island, where the nuclear summit was held. The island has long been occupied by the armored forces of Cobra. It is just a replacement for the original army. Because of Satan's position as president, it is not difficult to make these deployments. Jing, Bailing and a group of organization members took several speedboats to the shore. Install bombs on all the speedboats. Yes, sir. There are not many houses on the island, and the flags of various countries are hung in front of the houses. Jing walked along the way, and there was a quiet atmosphere around him. Bailing followed closely behind him, wearing white ninja equipment and carrying two sharp swords of the Lanning clan on his back. Now broadcasting. On a historic day, the President of the United States will hold a summit with the leaders of 8 nuclear countries. Unprecedentedly, the President has taken bold actions and called on the leaders of various countries to cooperate in nuclear disarmament. Most people feel that this unprecedented nuclear negotiation is unexpected. Leaders of various countries have arrived one after another, and the summit is about to begin. The security level of the meeting is already top secret. An unprecedented nuclear-free world is already beckoning us. We will move further towards an unprecedented nuclear-free world. Various broadcasts and various news channels are all talking about the discussion of this nuclear summit at this moment. People all over the world are concerned about whether nuclear weapons will appear in the sky after the summit. This is a grand and unprecedented gathering. Unfortunately, only a small number of people know the truth. When the time comes, the nuclear summit will be held on time. The leaders of 9 countries with nuclear weapons gathered together. The negotiations started with verbal battles and arguments. Some agreed and some objected. Nuclear weapons are a deterrent force. Those who have them are more confident than those who don't. Otherwise, there would not be only 9 countries in the meeting. Reality is reality. No matter how nice it sounds, it is actually based on its own interests, not on the future of future generations. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign in the upper right corner to add friends, search for the public account Gdred and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 81 Nuclear Bomb Explosion. I repeat, the world will be safer with nuclear weapons. I think your voters will like our final proposal. Cut it by 50% and complete it before 2016. There are many leaders of countries present, but there is only one leader from the free world. Who is this person? Satan paused, turned his palm, and continued, it's me. Please listen to me. I require everyone present to achieve the complete destruction of nuclear weapons and create a nuclear-free world. I have said all the good things. Now, I will give a hard order. Satan stood up and left the chair after speaking. The leaders of various countries looked at each other, somewhat confused, wondering what the American president was doing. You all have to destroy your stockpiles of nuclear weapons immediately. Satan put his hands on the table and continued threateningly. If you don't do it, it will be considered an act of declaring war. How is this possible? Are you kidding me? This summit is over. The leaders of various countries felt ridiculous. Threats? So many countries would be afraid of a mere threat? Even if you are the only superpower in the world, you can't declare war on all countries in the world at the same time, because this is an act of seeking death. That's it, gentlemen. No one listened to Satan's words, but the assistant next to him made the people from various countries quiet down, because this person had already put the briefcase representing the nuclear weapons launch pad on the table of the nuclear summit. This country declares war on you, and you. Satan smiled slightly, raised his orchid finger and pointed at the leaders present one by one. His expression was like a villain who was extremely proud, but what he meant at this time was the direction of the whole world. The leaders of various countries were still a little at a loss. Outside the venue, the special forces had arrived. What would greet them would be the first gift sent by Jing. It was just unknown whether they would be alive to receive it. The total amount of nuclear weapons possessed by the United States is enough to destroy each of your countries 14 times, or to be exact, North Korea 15 times. All of this, Satan said and did it, and the opened nuclear weapons control center was already on standby at any time. Just press it. Satan smiled slightly, shook his finger, and continued, "This button." Satan's finger did not hesitate at all, and he pressed it as soon as he said it. It was like saying I want to kill someone, and then I really killed him. It seemed so unreasonable and incomprehensible. The leaders of various countries were shocked, their faces suddenly changed, and they all stood up, unable to believe it. On the large display screen in the conference hall, the U.S. nuclear bomb had been ignited and launched. All this was completed in just a few seconds. The personnel of various countries were like watching a play, and they had no time to do anything. As the nuclear bombs were launched one by one, the personnel of various countries finally came back to their senses. This was not fake, nor was it an exercise. For a while, everyone in the conference hall was in a mess, and they hurriedly discussed and considered countermeasures. The messy appearance made people feel like they were in a vegetable market. Really, it was really true. If the nuclear bomb reached the designated target, then everything would be over. This is true. I pressed the button. Satan smiled as if he had just drunk a cup of coffee and had a full body massage, and he felt so comfortable all over. Do you want to destroy the world? Are you crazy? This is only relative. Gentlemen, you have 3 minutes to think about it. Satan sat down leisurely, not caring at all. At this time, outside the venue, the special forces had already entered the island, and the gifts arranged by Jing were also ready to be presented. Using the technical information knocked in, the base rushed to work, directly spending hundreds of millions of dollars to produce 30 acceleration armors. 20 of the users of these equipment are neo-snake demons who have no sense of pain and perception, and each acceleration armor is equipped with pulse weapons. If such weapons and equipment are defeated by the special forces with their bodies, then Jing will have to lead the Cobra troops to jump into the sea and commit suicide. The special forces did not expect to have such an opponent at all. As soon as they met, they suffered heavy casualties from the continuous pulse artillery fire. 2 of General Kelton's old comrades were killed as soon as they came up. For a time, loud noises continued everywhere on the island, and the special forces were suppressed and could not even raise their heads. The nuclear summit was still going on, and the leaders of various countries could no longer bear the pressure and took out their own country's nuclear weapons launchers. We will not agree, and we can't sit back and do nothing anymore. The tone of the Israeli national leader was extremely indignant. Don't do this, okay? This is not good for anyone. Let history be a witness and see who will be held responsible for this crazy act. Oh, Satan didn't listen to the angry words of the crowd at all, and even played Angry Birds on his mobile phone. There is no time. If you hesitate any longer, the territories of all countries will be attacked by nuclear weapons. What will be the result? A ruin. Yes, only a ruin will be left, and it will be a ruin without any human habitation within 100 years. By then, let alone their own citizens, even their ashes may not exist. Let's die together. Launch. Order to launch. 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 Nuclear bomb exploded. The sound of ignition continued to come out from the audio, which was like a death warrant. The personnel of various countries had to launch the arrows on the string. The nuclear bombs, which were originally just a deterrent force, became cabbages in the sky at this moment, and they were frequently launched as if they were free. On the big screen on the wall of the conference hall, all the nuclear bombs' trajectory and the distance to the designated target were displayed. Hundreds of nuclear bombs were densely placed on it. Maybe in a few minutes, the world would cease to exist. Oh, the good news is that there will be no more global warming summit next month. Satan sat on the chair and looked at the trajectory on the screen with a mocking look. He played everyone present around, and suddenly changed his tone and said, "Unless one of us cares about his place in history and is willing to unilaterally make the nuclear warhead ineffective." The personnel of various countries looked at each other, wondering what the old man was up to. Unilaterally? Doesn't it mean that when there is a group fight, someone voluntarily throws away the machete in his hand first? How is this possible? Well, is there anyone willing? No? Well, I am willing. After saying this, Satan stood up and casually pressed the self-destruct button of the nuclear bomb. On the screen, the display representing the U.S. nuclear bomb immediately executed the destruction procedure. Seeing the bright spots disappear one by one, none of the personnel of various countries dared to neglect it, and hurriedly called to verify the situation. "Ask your people to confirm." "Huh? Are you really crazy? Asia is about to be blown up. Hurry up. No one is following up? Are you really going to watch the Earth being destroyed?" Satan seemed to be playing chess, one step ahead, leading everyone forward. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign in the upper right corner to add friends, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82, 8 Capitals. Time is urgent. People from all countries are already in a dilemma. Others have already destroyed their nuclear bombs. If they don't follow suit, the destruction of the Earth will also be their responsibility. This kind of thing cannot be allowed to happen. We terminate, we also destroy it, automatically destroy it. There was a calm, and the sword above their heads disappeared. Although everyone hated the huge loss, everyone felt relieved. The bomb was not outside at all, but was more of a pressure on everyone's heart. Welcome to the nuclear-free world. Satan stretched out his hands, as if he was embracing the whole world. Before the people from all countries could think about it, things changed again. A group of soldiers wearing helmets, holding guns, and fully equipped rushed into the venue and surrounded all the people in the middle. I would like to ask everyone to shift their attention to the live footage of their own country. Enough, Satan, your mission is completed. Satan paused and frowned, but he didn't say anything when he saw the visitor. Jing brought Bailing, Firefly and others into the venue. The next thing was of great importance, and Jing had to do it himself. Turn on the weapon system and let the personnel of each country know what they should do next. The previous nuclear weapon self-destruction plan was to prepare for the appearance of space-based weapons. This was to prevent countries with nuclear bombs as a trump card from choosing to perish together, or in other words, countries with nuclear bombs would not be threatened at all. The Zeus plan was launched, and the main control launch platform was placed on the table and opened. It slowly opened 3 screens like a clover. The entire plan is a system of 7 satellites orbiting the Earth. Each satellite is equipped with 10 hollow platinum tubes with tungsten rods inside, so as to achieve accurate air positioning and strike any position on the surface of the Earth. Jing did not have the habit of explaining the plan to the enemy. He directly let the personnel of each country watch the actual effect of the weapons. The personnel of each country were not stupid. Even if they could not study it themselves, they could recognize what kind of weapon it was. Zeus satellite, target A, locked on London. The coordinates have been entered, and the launch procedure is in progress. Jing waved his hand, and Satan on the side pressed the launch button. Satellite 1A, complete the launch preparation procedure. 3. 2, 1, release. The tungsten rod was launched from the satellite, forming a straight line of fire at a speed 8 times faster than a bullet, burning, sonic boom, penetrating, and a fiery red landscape line across the sky. It was too fast, so fast that I couldn't even smoke a cigarette. Boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde. The impact of the tungsten rod when it reached the ground was like a meteor, violently hitting the center of London. This was a disaster, a doomsday disaster comparable to the ultimate earthquake. The shockwave started from the ground and quickly spread to the surroundings. The crust bulged, the plates moved, the houses collapsed, people were killed and injured. The end of the world came, and when I looked back, London had already turned into a ruin. You must be responsible for this. Will your Congress and your Supreme Court let you go? The French leader stood up and criticized Satan excitedly. Haha, you found the wrong person, sir. Now, I have the final say here. Li Jing smiled slightly. Leaders of various countries were all shocked. Asians? The Asian leaders present looked at each other, wondering which country had such a pervert. What do you want? The leaders of the countries held hostage were extremely indignant, but they still wanted to know Li Jing's specific intentions. Hand over your regime. This is the only thing you can do now. Li Jing was like a vegetable vendor quoting prices. He found a seat and sat down, calculating the time. It was almost time. He turned his head and looked at Beiling, saying, "Your old friend is here, don't let me down." Beiling's heart moved, and he turned and left without saying a word. At this time, the outside world was already in an uproar. The various bases of Cobra had already begun to act. Armor, tanks, planes, soldiers, almost all troops were dispatched. After Satan's infiltration, the White House had almost effortlessly hung up the flag representing Cobra. The background of the flag was black and the picture was red. The two long flags were hung in front of the White House, just like the two eyes of the King Cobra. Okay, everyone, your time is limited, and my patience is even more limited. Tell me your answers, so that I can deal with you according to your answers. Li Jing clapped his hands, interrupting the leaders of various countries who were still thinking about the seriousness of the problem. In fact, the political power or not is meaningless. Li Jing didn't know how the original Zeus clan came up with such an idea. Could it be that you, a terrorist organization, still require a formal handover and follow the procedures? In Li Jing's mind, force comes first. As long as your power is strong enough, what political power is all bullshit. Even if you grab it by force, you can grab it. Sir, 7 satellites are in place, waiting for instructions. Oh? Then let's start. Wait, what are you going to do? Seeing that Li Jing didn't wait for their answers at all, but directly started the next unknown move, everyone had to stand up and express their positions immediately. Li Jing laughed and said, "Don't be so nervous. In fact, in my opinion, it doesn't matter whether you answer or not. I believe that things that I get with my own hands are mine." After Li Jing finished speaking, he pressed the button representing the launch of the Zeus satellite. "No, you can't do this again." "Oh my God, what have you done again?" "Devil, you will destroy the world." The signs on the display screen of the conference hall indicated that the 7 satellites had arrived at the designated location, and the locked targets were also clear at a glance. Everyone present stood up, and their words were somewhat incoherent, showing how panicked they were. Paris, Pyongyang, New Delhi, Tel Aviv, Istanbul, Moscow, Beijing, except for the previously destroyed London, the capitals of all the countries present have been locked by Zeus satellites, and the launch button has been pressed, which means that in less than 2 minutes, the capitals of these countries will no longer exist. Madman, you are fully responsible for this matter. Oh my God, what is this for? God, me. Li Jing sat there and smiled slightly. The original college students, innocent and naive, have now been able to massacre hundreds of millions of people without changing their expressions? Yes, everyone has a selfish side in their heart, and when it bursts out, it may be another image. Li Jing knows what he is doing, and he never feels regretful. Everything in the world is insignificant or heavy in his eyes. What is lighter than a feather? What is heavier than Mount Tai? This is just imposed by outsiders. Even if the earth is destroyed, what does it count for in the entire universe? Human nature is external, and self-discipline is internal. If babies have strength, they can kill people for food, warriors can slaughter the army for the princess, and the protagonist can slaughter a series of extras for a slogan. Why? Is it based on human nature? Therefore, everything is relative. There is no real right or wrong, no real good or bad, no real light or dark. If you do it, you have done it, and you must dare to admit it. It is better to do it for yourself than for others, for slogans, and for beliefs. At least you will not feel hypocritical. My novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 83 Doomsday Scene. Da tilde bang 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 tilde gunshots were heard outside the venue, and the distance was getting closer and closer. The leaders of various countries were all in a commotion. Is the savior here? Finally, someone can come to punish this demon. He should be subject to the most severe trial in the world and endure the most cruel punishment in the world. At this time, the leaders of various countries rarely considered their own safety. They only wanted to capture Jing and make him suffer all the pain and disaster in the world. Da tilde dang 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 tilde a tilde a tilde. The sound was approaching the door. It seemed that there were quite a few people coming. Jing frowned. The special forces could not have such a strong force. It seemed that someone unexpected had appeared. Adjutant, notify the Snake King Guard to come over. Yes, sir. The adjutant turned around and called. Jing sat there without even the intention to get up. The preparation time of several months was enough for him to have many trump cards. The Snake King Guard was one of them. The guards consist of 48 carefully selected ninjas, wearing uniform black equipment. After several months of Shaker training, each of them has at least one ninjutsu. In addition, with the latest research results of Rex, the new nano-worm solution cannot regenerate human limbs, but it can obtain super recovery ability slightly worse than Wolverine. Except for vital parts, even if they are penetrated by bullets, they can recover quickly. This extreme force has stood at the top of this world and is simply beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Snake Eyes, my good brother, a good brother who has misunderstood me for more than 10 years. Haha, is this all you have? Dang tilde too weak, dang dang tilde too slow, dang 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 tilde. Snake Eyes, you disappoint me so much. Outside the venue, White Ghost was fighting with Snake Eyes. Jinx, who was standing beside him, covered her abdomen and could not move forward. Her abdomen had been pierced through by White Ghost. Even though they were cousins, they were now enemies of each other. White Ghost is too strong. It is simply a revelation. After 3 years, White Ghost's force has increased too fast. Not to mention Jinx, even Snake Eyes has been at a disadvantage and is shaky, and can't form an effective counterattack force at all. White Ghost, are you still colluding with the enemy? That is the murderer who killed Master Gang. The people of the Mist Shadow clan are about to attack the venue. Don't be obsessed with it. Enough, Jinx. You don't understand anything at all. The outcome of this battle has already been determined. Even if the Mist Shadow clan comes, it will be a waste of effort. Maybe no one will survive by then. White Ghost stepped up his offensive and showed no mercy. Although he was stronger than Snake Eyes, he had to be at least dozens of moves away to take his life. Snake Eyes was not a weak man. He was an extremely powerful warrior. There were indeed quite a few ninjas from the Storm Shadow clan, at least hundreds of them. Unfortunately, they encountered the King Snake Guards, who would never leave Jing. Although their numbers were twice as large, their quality was not comparable. The Storm Shadow clan would be injured with just one strike, while the King Snake Guards would be useless if they were not hit in the vital parts even with 10 strikes. White Ghost, do you really want to kill Snake Eyes? He is your brother. Jinx was bleeding profusely and was already very weak, but when he saw that Snake Eyes was about to collapse, he had to speak to White Ghost to change his mind. Brother, haha, maybe he is right. A friendship without any trust is better off without it. Goodbye, Snake Eyes. White Ghost smiled self-deprecatingly, and stopped dodging the last blow that Snake Eyes had tried his best. Substitution technique. Bang tilde squeak tilde a tilde. Snake Eyes spoke, but it could only be his last sigh before death. White Ghost appeared behind Snake Eyes, and the sharp blade in his hand had already pierced Snake Eyes' chest. "Rest in peace, I will make the murderer pay. The cause of Master Gang's death has been discovered by the Lanning clan, otherwise they would not have come out together." White Ghost pulled out the blade, and Snake Eyes immediately fell to the ground. At this time, he was already silent, but it was unknown whether he heard the last words White Ghost said to him. "White Ghost, you really killed Snake Eyes?" Jinx couldn't believe it, as if the spirit that supported her had been taken away, and she fell to the ground with her hands covering her abdomen. There was no need to answer Jinx's question. The matter was already in front of her, and there was no point in saying more. White Ghost made a knife flower and stabbed it behind her back, turned around and was about to leave. Jinx was no longer a threat. If she was not treated in time, she would not live long just from bleeding. Jinx looked at White Ghost's back, and she opened her mouth several times but couldn't say anything. It had changed. Everything had changed. Time was the most truthless knife. It could cut off everything in the world, not to mention some friendships and family ties that were already full of misunderstandings. "Honey, look, there's a shooting star." "What? A shooting star in broad daylight? Are you still asleep?" "Really? It's real. Oh my God. It's so fast." "Huh? There really is a shooting star. That's not good." Boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde boom tilde. The capitals of the 8 countries seemed to have had a dream. In the dream, they experienced an unprecedented disaster. Everyone died. Everything changed. The sky changed. Ruins were everywhere. Was this a dream? God, please, put an end to this nightmare. News, newspapers, television, radio, the internet, telephones, and all kinds of available communication facilities spread all over the world at this moment like awakening monsters. Special report: just a few minutes ago, the capital of our country, Moscow, suffered an inexplicable disaster. The cause is still unknown. Experts initially determined that it was a meteor landing impact. The incident affected an area of hundreds of kilometers and the consequences were extremely serious. The incident caused extremely serious casualties. According to preliminary statistics, at least several million people were unfortunately killed, and the economic losses caused were immeasurable. This station hereby appeals now broadcasting special news. According to statistics from relevant personnel, the incident occurred in a total of 8 regions in various countries around the world, and they are all important capitals of various countries. Experts suspect that the root cause of this incident was man-made. This incident is a major global disaster, as if the end of the world has come. The capitals of 8 countries have become a ruin. The adverse effects caused are extremely far-reaching. It is a heavy blow to the economy and a retreat for mankind. The people of the whole country mourn together. This incident will be regarded as an attack by a terrorist organization. The Third World War is about to begin. Science and Education Channel. The history of human technological development is not long. What exactly are we inventing for? Destruction or protection? The nuclear crisis has just passed, and humans have ushered in a new enemy. The death toll of this incident is as high as tens of millions. Could it be that humans have already? The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now. Click the plus sign in the upper right corner to add friends. Search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 84 Lord of the Nine Kingdoms. Dang! The blade of the Tang sword slashed on the cane of the one-eyed man. The seemingly wooden cane made a sound of metal clashing. As soon as it touched, the two fought again. Dang 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 tilde like two black hurricanes. The two fought fast, and the fight became more and more intense. In just a few seconds, the two had fought and collided dozens of times. Li Jing's expression did not change. He turned the Tang sword in his hand, and the power doubled. The huge force of 3,000 pounds slashed down horizontally. The one-eyed man's cane stood up and took it hard. Dang tilde the one-eyed man was shocked back 3 or 4 meters. He threw his cane carelessly, and his sharp eyes were fixed on Li Jing. I didn't expect that the commander of Cobra has such good martial arts. Now that the test is over, it's time to show some real skills next. Swoosh! The one-eyed man pulled the cane hard, but a long sword came out of it. Li Jing's mouth moved slightly and didn't respond. The battle around him was coming to an end, so he shouldn't waste time. Li Jing hooked his finger, and the one-eyed man held the knife with both hands, stepped forward a few steps, and his speed was so fast that in a blink of an eye, the knife had already chopped close to Li Jing. Li Jing raised his hand and swung the knife horizontally to fight hard. Dang 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 tilde the sharp blades kept colliding. The forging craftsmanship of the Lanying tribe was indeed extraordinary. Even after a series of collisions with Li Jing's tang knife, there was no damage at all. But that was it. Whether it was the knife or the man, they had reached their limits, and Li Jing was just stretching his muscles and bones, using less than a quarter of his strength. Li Jing narrowed his eyes and a slight sneer appeared at the corners of his mouth. He exerted force with both hands, and his veins bulged, and he exploded with all his strength. Dang! With a piercing loud noise, the one-eyed man retreated more than 10 steps in a row. Both hands holding the knife turned from red to purple and trembled violently. Dang tilde without stopping, another knife followed, and the one-eyed man's tiger mouth suddenly cracked. He retreated again, and his trembling feet stepped on the ground one after another. Dang tilde the third knife. The one-eyed man was directly knocked away by the huge force, spitting blood from his mouth, and the long knife was also knocked away and fell dozens of meters away. Lanying tribe, from today on, you will be expelled from the list. Swish tilde with a beheading knife, the one-eyed man's pupils dilated, and his head was cut off by the tang knife and fell. With the death of the leader, the remaining Lanying tribe members were not worth mentioning. In less than a few minutes, they were completely wiped out by the members of Cobra. The time spent on the island was not short. Li Jing put away his weapons and led everyone to evacuate the island and return to the base. With the leaders of the 9 countries in hand, this is a huge piece of fat meat, but with the existing strength of Cobra, it is still a bit powerless to swallow such a large territory alone. This is not a gangster robbing. This requires open occupation and acceptance. Back to the base, Li Jing began to implement a series of plans. Although the Zeus plan was successfully completed, the 8 Zeus satellites in the sky were also on standby at any time. However, no one would believe that all the nuclear bombs on the Earth have been consumed, and countries like Japan would not secretly develop nuclear weapons. Although the countries with nuclear weapons have been controlled, no one knows what is going on behind the scenes. The second half of the Zeus plan begins. Through the leaders of various countries, the local armed forces are connected to make them transform into the Cobra organization, distribute the transfer of officers, break up their internal organizational structure, send French troops to Britain, and British troops to North Korea, and break up and disperse the armed forces of all countries. Then wave the flag and cheer, with the eye of the sky as the banner, set up a decent and open flag all over the world, and use a series of measures such as funds, helping the disabled, running schools, companies, hospitals, squares, etc. to calm the panic of the people and establish a positive image. The capitals of various countries have been destroyed, which is equivalent to the absence of the control center. The local armed forces cannot form an effective resistance at all. Even if there is, it is only a small part. Even if only the surrendered troops in the local area are used, it is enough to suppress them by force. More than a year has passed again. The 9 countries with the highest technology in the world have changed their appearance. The industry of the Sky Consortium involves the economic lifeline of various countries and regions. Whether it is plunder or coercion and inducement, if normal procedures are followed, it is estimated that several generations will not be able to achieve such results. The United States is still called the United States, and France is still called France, but they are just titles under the Cobra Empire. This cannot be changed in the short term. The people's thinking is very nostalgic. This is a person's root. Maybe 10 or 20 years later, when the next generation grows up, they will feel that they are the people of the Cobra Empire. Although the various places seem to have been unified on the surface, there are still many details, and the resistance armed forces have never been truly eliminated. This kind of thing can only be like cutting leeks, growing a wave and cutting a wave, and it is impossible to really eliminate it. The time is still too short. At this time, Li Jing lived in a castle. The number of the Snake King's guards had reached thousands, and the White Ghost had killed Satan to avenge Master Gang, which was considered to be his wish. Rex was still studying nanoworm technology. Even if his ambition was to revive, he was powerless to deal with the current situation. After a year of practice, Li Jing's second-level ability reached its peak again, and the number of cells that could be controlled reached nearly 100 billion. The rapid growth of strength made him have 5 tons of strength in one hand. The speed of chakra extraction was getting faster and faster, and it was about to reach the level of Jonin. It's time to return. Li Jing stood on an open-air platform in the castle, looking at the rising sun, and it was inevitable that he felt a little strange. It's not that he was reluctant to give up the foundation he had laid, but that he thought of himself as an ordinary person, and he could actually encounter the opportunity of the system and make this series of changes. Otherwise, he should still be worrying about 3 meals a day. Career, love, power. These things seem so far away for a grassroots, but who would have thought that in such a short time, he has become the true king of the 9 kingdoms. Li Jing smiled slightly. System, return. Please wait. The transmission will start in 10 minutes. The 10-minute countdown began, and the time-space system has begun to build a time-space shuttle tunnel. DADA in a trance. Time and space have changed. Silver space, familiar places, family and friends. I haven't seen them for a long time. Only those who have experienced this kind of time difference know the awkwardness. Master Z, welcome back. I have to say that your luck and ability are very good. Oh? What do you mean? Li Jing smiled slightly at the unchanging old man, a little puzzled. Because you have done something that only an intermediate master can do, even though the previous space-time was very low level. Huh? What does that mean? The housekeeper shook his head and smiled, and said, Master, do you still remember the space-time bridge that I mentioned to you? The one that connects the 2 space-times? The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now. Click the plus sign in the upper right corner to add friends. Search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 85 Time and Space Development. Yes, the butler nodded and continued. The system is similar to a transit station between different time and space. It can connect different time and space in a short time. Of course, it can also build a bridge that connects time and space for a long time. This kind of bridge refers to the long-term connection channel that can only be established when the master is recognized by the time and space. Li Jing was stunned, and then his heart moved, and said, You mean that the system has now established a long-term connection channel with the Special Forces time and space? Yes, the butler nodded and said, because you changed the course of history and controlled the lifeblood of a large group of creatures, and then indirectly changed their destiny. The fate of this group of creatures has been connected with you, so that time and space can determine and recognize your local identity to a certain extent. Li Jing lowered his head and thought, this sentence is not difficult to understand. For example, a person married into a family with the surname Li and gave birth to a baby for the Li family. To a certain extent, others would think that this woman is the daughter-in-law of the Li family and a member of the Li family. So, I am also the wife of Special Forces. A native? Yes, the old man answered with a smile, as if he liked Li Jing more and more. Well, what are the benefits of this? There are many benefits to connecting time and space for a long time. Not only can you return to the time and space anytime and anywhere, but you can also gain a certain number of SKS points at all times. Cultivation? This is like growing vegetables online. Li Jing curled his lips, threw away the unrealistic idea, and asked, Butler, how many points do I have this time? How many can I get in a day? Master, you now have a total of 24,500 points, and you can get about 100 points every day. A great harvest. But Li Jing frowned slightly afterwards. It was not a matter of how many points there were, but that this kind of thing was difficult to control. Does it mean that every time you travel through time and space, you have to fight for world domination? It's impossible. Or, it just happened that the historical plot of this time and space happened to be about hegemony? This is the root of the problem. After all, the power of a person is limited, and it is impossible to change the historical direction of a world at will. Will the number of points gained every day change? Yes. It is not easy to connect to a space-time for a long time. You need to manage it well. Maybe you can gain 10,000 points every day in the future, but if you leave it alone, the bridge of space-time will be broken. Cursing secretly, Li Jing finally understood that this was a long-term relationship between the two families, lest the in-laws get upset and divorce him. However, this was also a big surprise. Li Jing smiled slightly. Desire is endless. People must learn to be self-disciplined and self-reliant, and know how to advance and retreat in an orderly manner. Suddenly, Li Jing was stunned, as if he thought of something. Space-time? Space-time? Then the universe where the Earth is located should also be considered a space-time, right? Butler, can we also earn sus points in the space-time where the Earth is? The butler smiled slightly, nodded, and said, yes, sir, as long as you can change the fate of most people and change the history of this space-time, you will get unexpected huge gains, because the space-time of the Earth is your home. Why didn't you say it earlier? It's not necessary to choose a master. First, you didn't have that ability before. Second, you need to find the problem yourself in everything. Li Jing waved his hand, which was considered as recognition. It was indeed true. It is better to rely on yourself than on others. If you develop the habit of relying on others, it would be putting the cart before the horse, which is not good. Let's draw the lottery first. Butler. Okay, sir, since you have gained a lot from traveling through time and space this time, and you have also built a bridge connecting time and space, the lottery given by the system can allow you to draw 3 items. Oh, good thing. Let's start. The butler nodded and waved his hand. A large golden roulette appeared in the air again, but this time the roulette was divided into 10 areas. Magic item masked Ultraman mask, magic item hooked cat's hoe, magic item flying magic carpet, magic item bomb bag, magic item Wall Street Journal sanitary napkin, magic item Conan's bow, weapons and equipment Sun and Moon twin swords, weapons and equipment protective Kiran Jade, electronic equipment S-class intelligent electronic system, hard method knowledge 3-point return to Yuan Chi. The wheel turned, and the 10 seconds ended. Master, you have obtained the magical item Wall Street Journal sanitary napkin, weapons and equipment Sun and Moon twin swords, and electronic equipment S-class intelligent electronic system. Congratulations. Li Jing didn't hear the others, only heard the sound of sanitary napkins. Sanitary napkins in his ears. What's going on? I feel like I'm not feeling well. Even after going through battles, Li Jing didn't feel the huge pressure at this moment. What does a normal man need that thing for? The housekeeper waved his hand, and Li Jing's hand sank, and then he caught several things issued by the system. 2 ancient swords of the same shape but different colors, a metal cube shaped like a Rubik's Cube, and the last one, a pack of well-made and luxurious sanitary napkins. Throwing these things into the tattoo space, Li Jing felt that he had no mood at all. He touched his forehead with a headache. Housekeeper, please send me back first. Okay, sir. Time and space changed, and it was different in the blink of an eye. It was the second half of the night. Nothing in the room had changed. Even the dust had not had time to fall. Li Jing left the study and walked to the bedroom balcony. The sky was full of black, and there was no starlight. The current city is seriously polluted. It is almost difficult to see the stars. Outside the building, there were 2 groups of people sitting in cars and watching. One was 2 young men, and the other was a young girl with short hair. Li Jing smiled slightly. These people have been squatting for a month. Are they idle, or are they taking their wages as a vacation? It hurts. Li Jing turned and went into the house. The people in these 2 places were all police officers. With his well-developed 5 senses, he had already discovered them through clues long before, but he just didn't want to pay attention to them. If you want to stare, then stare. Sitting on the bed, Li Jing took out an S-class intelligent electronic system in the shape of a Rubik's Cube. This silver thing was made of some unknown metal material. All 6 sides were as smooth as a mirror. Nothing else. Li Jing pressed the thumb of his right hand on the Rubik's Cube, and under the control of the cells, a drop of blood was automatically moved on the fingertip. Start the program. The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 86 Sky Intelligence. DD tilde The Rubik's Cube emits a blue light, which is not strong, but very gorgeous. DNA detection testing completed. Conditions met. Master recognition successful. System initialization completed. Database storage establishment completed. System startup. The Rubik's Cube became like a puddle of mud, spreading on the bed with a clatter. Startup completed. Please name it. Master. Li Jing resisted the feeling of grows in his head and said coldly, just call it Danyan. Are you going to stay in front of me like this? Ding. Naming successful. Danyan greets you, Master. Danyan's external state changes as you wish. Whatever you imagine Danyan to be like, Danyan can turn it into what you want. Li Jing felt that black lines and other inexplicable things were about to appear on his face again. What was he saying? Could it be that what he was thinking about in his mind was a puddle of mud? Turn into a laptop. Okay, Master. Don't call me Master. Call me Boss. Okay, Boss. Connect to the internet. I want to surf the internet. Okay, Boss. The functions of the Sky Intelligent Electronic System are very powerful, which Li Jing fully understood after accepting its manual. This intelligent high-end system is not only used to surf the internet and play games. Even the most advanced supercomputer on Earth so far can perform 100 trillion operations per second, which is only less than the B-level, and is more than 2 levels away from the S-level Sky Intelligent System. Sky, take a photo of this thing and put it online, and contact some buyers. Li Jing took out a few boxes in the tattoo space, opened the box, and it was full of various jades and jades. Understood, boss, just wait and see. The shutter sound kept coming, and the Sky was also very servile to Li Jing to give advice. The intelligence of the intelligent system, the Sky is even more advanced than that of normal humans. Boss, why are you selling these things? If it were me, I should let Sky take action and crack the core network of major banks in a few minutes, and then transfer the money 100 times and deposit it into tens of millions of anonymous accounts, so that they will have no place to find it. Li Jing resisted the urge to slap the notebook. First, he felt that such an action would look stupid, and second, he thought that there was no need to be serious with an electronic system. Shut up, Sky. Compress the subprogram into mobile phone, computer, and tablet installation software, and publish it on the internet for free download. Okay, boss, please wait. Sky's voice came from the silver notebook, just like a teenager. As for the question of gender, Li Jing never heard it. Although Sky talked a lot of nonsense, it was not ambiguous when executing orders. As long as it was something Li Jing told it to do, it would complete all of the operations meticulously. Not long after, Sky informed Li Jing that the subprogram mobile phone software had been compressed to 10 megabytes, and the computer software had also been compressed to 30 megabytes, and published on major websites for free download. To change the historical trend of the Earth, only by leading the great development of the technological era can we operate it in the simplest and easiest way. This mobile phone software will be the beginning of a network revolution. It inherits the intelligent operation of Danyan, allowing users who install the software to experience the intelligent management mode. You can name it and set its image. Everything is controlled by voice control. You say it, it does it. If you are bored, you can chat with it. If you make a phone call, just tell it. It can accompany you when playing games and it can help you with office work. You will no longer have to worry about it. This software will bring the electronic network into a new intelligent era. Li Zongchu is a serious senior high school student. It has only been less than 2 months since the start of school, and the heavy study pressure has made him breathless. Games can't be picked up, novels, and today I finally gritted my teeth and escaped. I went to my friend's house to play games online all night, and I met the legendary god-level pig teammate. Zongchu slapped the mouse. It was impossible to play. There was a newbie who didn't know anything in the team, how to play. He was dragging his feet. Hey, Master Zongchu, you may be angry, but what are you doing with my mouse? If you break it, Buy me a new one? His friend cursed and turned to play with another laptop. Li Zongchu was no longer in the mood to continue playing games. He turned off the game and went online to search for new software. Sky Intelligence? What is this? The name is too weird. Is it an operating software? Li Zongchu looked at the introduction and clicked to download it. Intelligence? I guess no one would be stupid enough to believe it. Maybe it's just a gimmick of advertisers. Just looking at the small size of the software package, you can tell that there is nothing hard in it. The download was completed. It was installed in 5 seconds. It's really 5 seconds. It's really fast. Li Zongchu curled his lips and clicked to start it. Dear user, hello, welcome to the Sky software operating system. What is it? Fuck. What are you doing? You want to scare people to death in the middle of the night. A crisp female voice startled Li Zongchu and his friends. The Sky operating system is a truly intelligent software. You can use voice to command and operate it. It will bring you a novel experience that is different from the past. I wish you a pleasant journey. A sci-fi picture suddenly appeared on the computer screen, and then it began to flow and change, presenting a virtual human image. Hello, sir. Please set the image and voice of the housekeeper you need. Li Zongchu opened his mouth and looked at his friend, and then the two of them approached the computer to watch. What is this rhythm? Is it time to start traveling? Please set the voice and image of the housekeeper. Li Zongchu scratched his head and said, let's see Lili. The blurred figure on the computer changed with Li Zongchu's words, and soon turned into a short but great-looking little Lili, and also came with a maid outfit. This is going to be a rhythm against the sky. Li Zongchu opened his mouth and pinched his friend's thigh fiercely. Ouch! The friend slapped Li Zongchu's dirty hand away and cursed. Are you sick? Hee. I just wanted to see if it hurt. I pinched the wrong thing. The wrong thing. Li Zongchu kept apologizing and admitting his mistake. His friend rolled his eyes. Fuck, you were kidding. The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign in the upper right corner to add friends, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 87 The beginning of an era. Let's not talk about this. Let's not talk about this. Li Zongchu begged for mercy, pointing at the little Lolita on the computer screen, and said, do you think this is a newly developed development game? Before his friend could answer, the little Lolita on the computer had completed the initialization, pouted her lips, and said proudly, this girl is not about development or not. I am a real invincible beauty in the world. You useless man. Why does it take so long to think of a name? Li Zongchu was stunned and didn't know what to say. This shocking feeling was even mixed with a little bit of sadness. Do you have to be so lame? It feels more stressful than traveling through time. Is this really intelligent? The country doesn't have an intelligent operating system, okay? How could it be put on the internet for people to download at will? Or is it unique? Hey, what are you thinking about? Hurry up and name it. Didn't you graduate from elementary school? Boy. Li Zongchu came back to his senses and rubbed his hands like a fly. This might be the only intelligent system in the world. It just fell on his head like this. Why do you feel so light? Oh, I'm so unlucky. I met a fool right after I was born. I don't know if other sisters are luckier than me. It's so annoying. The little Lolita roared in hatred, and her little face was a little red with excitement. Li Zongchu knocked his head hurriedly to drive away those unrealistic ye, and coaxed in a low voice, don't be angry. I'm not a fool. My name is Li Zongchu. Li is Li in the 100 family surnames, Zong is Zong in the original intention, and Chu is Chu in the original intention. I will give you a name now. Don't worry. Don't worry. Hurry up. The little Lolita was too lazy to say more, and tilted her head to one side. Oh, by the way, let's call her Lily. It's so difficult. I thought I could come up with the good name. Lily. It's too ordinary. Li Zongchu touched the back of his head with some embarrassment. The little girl pouted and continued unhappily. Forget it. You only have so much on your head, so Lily is fine. Li Zongchu touched his head and continued to smile foolishly. It felt like he saw his first love, and his friend next to him was watching all this intently. Ms. Chuzi, This seems to be my computer. Whose lily is this? Li Zongchu was stunned, and then said decisively, of course it's mine. At most, I'll give you money and let you buy a new one, okay? Not selling it. Damn it, your uncle must buy it. Not selling it. Damn it, I must buy it. I just won't sell it. Damn it, I must buy it. Okay, stop arguing. If you want a smart housekeeper, why don't you just download the software yourself? Li Zongchu, who was arguing with a red face and thick neck, was stunned. Can it be downloaded? Isn't it exclusive? Li Zongchu scratched his head and didn't care. He sat beside the computer like a lackey and coaxed Lily to play. Li Zongchu's friend also turned aside and quickly searched for Danyan intelligence software on his notebook. In less than an hour, the download volume of Danyan intelligence software had exceeded 100,000. This is a rhythm that is going against the sky. The beginning of a system software revolution is about to strike. All netizens who have downloaded and used it have given it 5-star praise. With word of mouth, a strong intelligence storm suddenly set off on the internet. 100,000, it's just the beginning. Li Jing, who hadn't slept yet, lay on the bed and listened to Danyan's report. Boss, the download volume has exceeded 500,000, and it is still growing continuously. Yeah, Li Jing nodded and said, is it also available on major foreign websites? It's still in the initial stage, and the climax of the outbreak has not yet arrived. Yes, boss, the number of downloads abroad has just started, and it is not possible to count it now. Well, you keep an eye on it. We'll talk about it tomorrow if there is anything. Okay, boss. Li Jing turned around, squinted his eyes and prepared to take a nap. Now everything is just starting. There is no need to be too anxious, and the Sky system is powerful. It can handle these trivial matters properly. And it does not need to use power, because the Sky will automatically collect free electron particles in the space. Even the energy of light can be collected and used, and there is no need for outsiders to worry about it. It was almost 4 o'clock at this time. Li Jing took a nap and got up at 8 o'clock in the morning. After washing up and stretching his muscles, Li Jing ate the simple breakfast he made while listening to the report of Sky. So far, the 3 softwares for mobile phones, computers, and tablets have exceeded 50 million downloads worldwide. Well, Li Jing swallowed a mouthful of milk and nodded. This number was not beyond his expectations. He believed that it would not take long for the download volume of this smart housekeeper software to exceed hundreds of millions, or even more. The subsystem available for download by netizens is just a trial version. The main system of Danyan can be recycled anytime and anywhere, and one person's voice can only use one housekeeper, no matter how many times you download it or how many computers you use. That is to say, in less than a few hours, 50 million people have downloaded and used the Danyan subsystem. At this time, major software companies around the world are holding emergency meetings, calling out that the wolf is coming, and it is a man-eating wolf whose roots are unknown. Intelligence, a product that has spanned the Earth's technology for countless years, is just in front of everyone. You can see it, you can hear it, but you just can't believe it. Intelligence. It appeared too early and too suddenly. Li Jing doesn't care about these. It is not easy to lead the technological changes of an era. This is not something that can be changed by spreading a series of high-end technologies. This requires starting from the root and establishing a complete technology tree system to complete it. Sky, is there any news about the things you put up yesterday? Boss, there are only a few companies that are interested in buying, and I took the initiative to contact them. After all, the time is still too short. Well, it doesn't matter if the price is low, just sell it as soon as possible. Tell them that we can do a face-to-face transaction. Okay, boss. Li Jing has a lot of property in his hands, but the only cash he has is the banknotes he brought back from special forces. These banknotes cannot be stored and used openly because of the serial number problem, so he must think of other ways. The time and space of special forces has been connected with the Earth, and the time flow has been synchronized, but the time period is a few months different. One side is October 24, 2014, the other side is May 10, 2014, but no matter what, with the support of 9 countries behind him, The resources that Li Jing can mobilize are not what ordinary people can imagine. The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 88 Trends. Looking up at the living room of the house, it's time to change this house. In the past, I was too restrained in doing things. Now, I can't care about those trivial matters anymore, otherwise it will be too difficult to develop. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Li Jing took out his mobile phone and looked at the number. It was Ding Mo. Hello, what's the matter? Li Z, where are you? Home. Hey, you are really a homebody. Come out quickly. I'm waiting for you in Lihua. Lihua? Li Jing paused slightly and said, is it that 5-star hotel? What are you doing there? Don't ask so many questions. Come quickly. I'm hanging up first. Hearing the busy tone on the phone, Li Jing curled his lips and put the phone away. This is too unreliable. A 5-star hotel. What is this for? Ding-a-ling-a-ling. It's Ding Mo's call again. Hey, you come quickly, otherwise I'm going to die here. Damn, what's going on? Li Jing frowned slightly. He didn't believe that Ding Mo could get into trouble in the hotel in broad daylight. It must be that this kid was afraid that he would not go, so he came up with a conspiracy. Shaking his head, Li Jing stood up and prepared to go out. He was originally planning to go out to do something, but he didn't expect Ding Mo to do such a thing. Li Jing tapped the table with his fingers, and the tannin notebook seemed to melt and turned into a pool of silver mud. As the mud flowed, it quickly approached Li Jing's wrist, and then compressed and changed its shape on it, becoming a silver watch. After leaving the door, Li Jing took a taxi. The car drove straight to the Lihua Hotel, and the police who had been monitoring it followed quietly as expected. Li Jing, who was sitting in the taxi, moved his mouth, and then stopped caring. After an hour, the taxi arrived at the entrance of the Lihua Hotel. Li Jing paid and got off the car. After entering the hotel lobby, he took out his mobile phone and called Ding Mo. Beep. Hey, where are you? Are you dead? Almost. Hurry up to the 3rd floor, room 308. After hanging up the phone, Li Jing shook his head and smiled bitterly again. Nothing good would happen if he dealt with this jerk. After entering the elevator and going up to the 3rd floor, Li Jing asked the waiter and was led to the door of room 308. Dong. Come in. Ha. Li Jing was stunned. Knocking on the door was so funny. When he pushed the door open, he was greeted by a burst of laughter and talking. Ha. I told you, girls change a lot when they grow up. Zhang Yan was a snotty kid when she was little. She followed us around all day long. Look at her now. She's an official in the system and has become a great beauty. This is almost like the metamorphosis, right? Ha. What are you talking about? So annoying. That's right. Don't complain. Zhang Yan is taken, so don't flirt with her. Be careful that her husband will jump out and beat you up. Tsk. I will. Li Jing was a little dazed. Looking at the people in the room, he knew most of them. They were his classmates in high school, and most of them were from the same class. Hey, be quiet. You are all blind. Our handsome Li has arrived. Please applaud and welcome him. Papa. Welcome. Papa. The one who spoke was the monitor of his high school, a pretty girl named Shen Tingting. Li Jing raised his hand to say hello, and Shen Tingting came forward and pulled Li Jing to sit on the chair in front of the table. What is going on here? Can someone explain it to me? Li Jing looked at the dozens of people present, then turned to look at Ding Mo on the side. What's there to explain? To be honest, you're just too unkind. Shen Tingting took over the conversation, patted Li Jing on the shoulder generously, and said, although it's not easy for us high school classmates to get together, at least we have a connection. But you are the best at diving and disappeared. If Ding Mo hadn't known your number and called you over, we might not recognize each other when we meet again in a few years. Li Jing laughed dryly. It's not that serious. What you said makes me feel ashamed and embarrassed to see anyone. Tsk. Shen Tingting rolled her eyes and said, don't act pitiful. The relationship between classmates is limited. In the future, it can only be less, not more. Zhang Yan is getting married in a few days. Don't you have anything to say as her ex-boyfriend? What? Li Jing rolled his eyes rarely and said, don't talk nonsense. What ex-boyfriend? I am the ex-boyfriend of all the girls in the class. Thinking of the past memories, Li Jing shook his head and smiled bitterly, and then said to Zhang Yan, who was sitting next to him and watching the joke, but I still have to congratulate you, Zhang Yan. I didn't expect you to sell yourself at such a young age. Oh, I regret that I was too slow to act. Haha, come on, you didn't want me when I offered me the girl, now go and regret it. Zhang Yan smiled and rolled a napkin into a ball and threw it at him. A boy next to him knocked on the table and said, hey, big lover, it's okay that you were a troublemaker for all the girls in the class in high school, but now you are flirting with a decent woman as soon as you enter the house. What, do you dare to walk around? Otherwise, we, who have 2 more meatballs, will definitely not let you go. Good woman? Who do you say is a woman? I will fight you. Before Li Jing could reply, Zhang Yan didn't agree, and directly got up and chased the boy who was talking around the room. With a slight smile, Li Jing raised his wine glass and toasted the classmates at the table. After not seeing each other for a few years, there are indeed big changes. It has been more than 3 years since graduating from high school, and Li Jing has only seen a few classmates. As for class reunions, he has never attended one. It is not intentional alienation, but personality. Hey, you are about to graduate from college now. What are you going to do in the future? Li Jing turned around and saw that it was Shen Tingting, the class monitor beside him, who was talking. After not seeing each other for a few years, this little girl has grown up to be a graceful young lady with a tall figure and a lot of body. Nothing, I am going to start my own business and be my own boss. Hee, you are going to be a boss, right? Then don't forget to help me when the time comes. Shen Tingting was joking, and she also took Li Jing's words as a joke in her heart. Li Jing smiled slightly and didn't care. Okay, I will hire you to be my secretary when the time comes. TSK. Shen Tingting rolled her eyes and cursed. Big pervert. Li Jing was slightly stunned, and then almost laughed out loud. Are all girls nowadays so complicated? Hey, be careful or I'll sue you for defamation. Humphrey. Shen Tingting turned her head away, apparently not wanting to pay attention to Li Jing, but the slight smile on her lips had already betrayed her. The good impression in school days was too vague, and Li Jing, who was good-looking, was indeed the first choice of girls in the class at that time. Unfortunately, the attraction of the opposite sex cannot resist the erosion of time. 3 years passed in a flash, and they parted ways and started their own new lives. The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, you all downloaded it, right? My Little Mao is amazing. TSK, what a crappy name. I tell you, this smart housekeeper is very smart. You need to take good care of the relationship between you, otherwise it will get angry and ignore you. How did you know? I set up a queen image and asked her to take off all her clothes for me to see. Look, she still hasn't paid attention to me. Damn, scumbag. Hey, what's the name of yours? Jeet. What's yours? What a crappy name. Mine is Kaiukiu. Damn. Everyone at the table suddenly talked about the most popular download software on the internet today, which is the subsystem program made by Danyan. This software is now known to everyone and has formed a unique popular trend. When you go out, if you say that you don't have a smart housekeeper, people around you will definitely despise you first, and then congratulate you. You have successfully derailed the world. The trend is coming. Hey, have you downloaded that smart software? Li Jing was stunned, turned to look at Shen Tingting, and said, oh, not yet. What? You are so out of date. Now everyone knows about this software. It's great. Hehe. It wasn't available yesterday. I just didn't have time to download it. Then you can download one online. It's 10 megabytes. Very fast. Don't be so anxious. Under the threat of Shen Tingting's eyes, Li Jing had to take out his mobile phone and pretend to search for software online, secretly letting the Sky host on his wrist transfer a subsystem to his mobile phone. What do you plan to name your butler? Shen Tingting tilted her head and leaned in front of Li Jing to look at his mobile phone. Call me Tingting. You want to die? Shen Tingting's eyes widened. She sat up and waved her fist, saying, "This name is my patent. If you want to use it, you must go through my review before it can be approved." Haha, how do you want to review it? Shen Tingting held her chin, tilted her head, and said, "This matter is too big. I need to think about it carefully." Changing the subject, Shen Tingting narrowed her eyes and smiled slightly. "But before that, you can use it first. When I think it through, I will ask you to compensate for my loss of reputation." It's a name, not a reputation. The difference is too big. What do you care if I say it's a reputation? It's a reputation. How about it? Shen Tingting's eyes widened, as if she was invincible like a female cat showing off her power. "Okay." Li Jing raised his hands in surrender. This matter was just idle talk. If he continued to talk about it, it would be endless. A few hours passed by after eating and drinking. This was a small party organized by Zhang Yan, who was about to become a bride. One was to let everyone get together and have fun, and the other was the wedding in a few days. Li Jing also received Zhang Yan's invitation. In the end, Zhang Yan's husband showed up and had a few drinks with everyone. The dinner was over. After saying goodbye to the classmates, Li Jing went downstairs with Ding Mo, who had not said a few words. Ding Mo's family was well off, otherwise he would not go out and drive himself. But today both of them drank a lot of wine. Ding Mo took out his mobile phone. "Baby, call for a designated driver." "Got it, Muah." A sickening voice came from Ding Mo's mobile phone, and Li Jing shuddered when he heard it. Although he didn't know what the setting of this smart housekeeper looked like, he thought it must be very strange. The designated driver came quickly, and Li Jing and the other got on the back seat of the Audi. "Where are you going?" "To Guomao Road." Ding Mo nodded and signaled the designated driver to drive. The car was on the road, and Ding Mo turned his head and looked at Li Jing again. "Don't you have anything to ask?" "What?" "Nothing." Ding Mo felt that Li Jing was like a piece of steel, because he was even more annoying than wood. "The monitor wants your number." "What's wrong?" Li Jing nodded. "What else?" "She likes you." "Don't tell me you can't see it." Ding Mo looked at the pretentious man in front of him with contempt. "I have seen it, but so what?" "Damn it, uncle, can you please give me some reaction?" "This is the beautiful Shen. You have this expression of seeking death? Then what expression do you want to see? Overjoyed, or crying for parents?" "Damn it." Ding Mo turned around and slammed the car door, and said hatefully, "How can there be people like you in the world? Did you grow up eating Sun Wukong?" Li Jing curled his lips and said without comment, "It's your call. When you have time, worry about your own romantic debts. I can just let things take their course in my matter." "Why think so much? You are kind-hearted and generous." "Do you know what squad leader Shen's family does? Do you know how many people are eager to marry her and keep her at home as a sacrifice? You know." "Okay, these things have nothing to do with me. You should know my character." Li Jing waved his hand to interrupt Ding Mo. "That's right." Ding Mo nodded and said, "Telling you all this is like playing guitar to a cow. It's useless." Li Jing rolled his eyes and ignored the lunatic beside him. This guy is not a good guy at all. Li Jing can't count how many romantic affairs he has known. When they arrived at Guomao Road, Li Jing got off the car. Ding Mo sat in the car and waved his hand and left. It was said that it depends on whether Li Jing can seize the opportunity. Unfortunately, Li Jing's mind is not on this aspect at all. Passing by an empty corner, Li Jing took out a suitcase from the tattoo space, which contained several pieces of jade and jade. During the previous dinner, Dan Yin had informed Li Jing that there was a buyer who wanted to meet and talk. Li Jing walked to the door of a jade shop and walked in with the suitcase. An hour later, when Li Jing came out again, the suitcase was no longer in his hand. The jade was gone, and there was more than 40 million in the bank account. After finishing the work here, Li Jing went to the bank again and transferred hundreds of thousands of RMB to his parents in his hometown. After making a phone call, he persuaded them to give him the reason of winning the lottery, but it was obvious that his parents were still worried and might not dare to touch the money at all. There was nothing he could do about it. Whether he would use it or not, Li Jing just wanted to put some emergency money in his family first, and then build a good house for his parents when he returned to his hometown in the future. So as to dispel their concerns, Li Jing did not go home directly, but went to the 4S store to buy a car. As for the driver's license, it was not a problem at all. It was just a small problem to buy it or use the Sky to build one for himself. Porsche 911, silver exterior, streamlined design, low chassis, full horsepower, full price, high configuration, 1.8 million. The novel Super TV will have more fresh content on the official WeChat platform, and there will also be a 100% lucky draw gift for everyone. Open WeChat now, click the plus sign, add friends in the upper right corner, search for the public account Dread and follow it. Hurry up. Chapter 90 Spiritual Skills. Wu tilde The vehicle started and accelerated quickly. Li Jing asked Tanyan to control the onboard computer. The entire route was marked and controlled by Tanyan. Tanyan, register an offshore company in the British Virgin Islands, named Tanyan Technology. Okay, boss. The vehicle drove, and Li Jing soon arrived at the destination. This is an agency company that operates house rental and sale. Li Jing got out of the car and pushed the door to enter the agency hall. Welcome, sir. Good afternoon. Hello. The receptionist bowed to Li Jing, who came in. Li Jing nodded and stated his requirements under the receptionist's inquiry. The environment must be good and the transportation is convenient for a single-family villa. After selecting a few, Li Jing fell in love with a place called Yaxuan Villa. There are only a dozen villas in this villa complex, and there is a distance between the villas. Li Jing chose a villa covering an area of several thousand square meters, with a total of 2.5 floors, and an independent garden and swimming pool. The full price is 38 million. After making an appointment to go house hunting tomorrow, Li Jing came out of the agency and drove his Porsche to go home first. As for the police who were still following him, Li Jing didn't care about it at all. Tanyan, post the job openings online. I want to set up a company team and contact a headhunting company to ask them to find an experienced professional manager. Okay, I got it, boss. Li Jing smiled slightly and suddenly stepped on the accelerator, increasing the speed of the car. He had taken many more advanced vehicles and airplanes, but the feeling of driving by himself was still very different. Damn it, are you finally going home? Zhang Mingming cursed and slapped the steering wheel. It was really tiring to stare at Li Jing when he didn't go out. He just wanted him to go out and do something quickly so that he could reveal something to prove that his hard work was not in vain. But he didn't expect that the otaku who didn't go out for a month would be like a barrel of explosives as soon as he went out, which gave Zhang Mingming a big shock. A little investigation revealed that this silent otaku had managed to get jade worth tens of millions of yuan without making any noise. Zhang Mingming did not remember that the suspect had taken any boxes with him when he went out. Jade worth more than 70 million yuan, and he sold it for 40 million yuan. Was this a secret deal, or a money laundering operation? Big fish. I finally caught you. Zhang Mingming's face flushed with excitement. She exerted too much force on her feet and almost hit the car in front of her and rear-ended it. She took a deep breath, calmed herself down, and gripped the steering wheel with even more force. No matter what Zhang Mingming thought, after Li Jing returned home, he locked the door and went upstairs to the study. The tattoo space was connected to the time-space system, and Li Jing appeared in the silver system space the next second. Butler, do you have any suggestions for my points? Master Z, you now have a total of 24,600 points. I suggest that you spend 5,000 points to develop your brain utilization to 20%. Although this will not allow you to gain any more supernatural powers, it can fundamentally improve your original abilities. What do you mean? When the brain utilization rate reaches 20%, you can better control your own cells. Your 5 senses will be strengthened again, and then you may extend the 6th sense. Moreover, the improvement of chakra also requires sufficient mental energy. Master Z, Your current physical strength and mental energy have begun to become unbalanced. Li Jing nodded. He felt it himself. Every time he used all his strength and practice, he often felt powerless. It felt like he was about to lose control of his body, and then the movements he made began to become uncoordinated. What's next? You need to continue to exchange 5,000 points of sus materials to prepare for your ability upgrade. Li Jing nodded in agreement. Indeed, the 1,000 points of sus materials exchanged before have been used up. If you don't use it to improve the speed of cultivation, it's unknown when you want to upgrade your ability to level 3. These two things will cost 10,000 points. Li Jing, who originally thought he had become a nouveau riche, now felt like he had returned to the pre-liberation era. He no longer asked the housekeeper. Li Jing had already made plans for the remaining points. The creation furnace appeared again, but this time it looked like a large boiler for boiling water. Li Jing curled his lips and resisted the urge to complain, and stepped into the furnace in this strange state. It was like sleeping, not sleeping, and awake, a very comfortable roaming state. Although it felt good, Li Jing felt that this creation furnace was extremely terrifying. Maybe when you are still dreaming, you will leave this world unknowingly. When he opened his eyes again, Li Jing felt that something was added to his mind, very light, so light that it made him feel relaxed. Li Jing's mind moved, and his right arm began to transform into scales. In a few seconds, his entire right arm was covered with green scales, an extreme state of a monster. Well, it's indeed much easier, and the time of transformation has been reduced by half compared to the previous time. Master, your cell control is indeed a good physical ability, so you now need to obtain a matching spiritual ability, so that you can maximize your survival ability. Li Jing nodded. It was true, cell control was the limit of the physical body, and chakra was a combination of the physical body and the spirit. Now all he needed was a spiritual ability. Open them all. Knowledge category. Li Jing wanted to search for a method of cultivating the spirit first. As for superpowers, they were something that could only be encountered by chance. Even the system did not sell things related to superpowers and bloodlines. Mental Force Combat Method 600 points. Mental Meditation 500 points. Mental Storm 200 points. Illusion Collection 300 points. Heart Sutra of Relics 500 points. Hard Demon Puppet 200 points. Taiyan Shenju 3000 points. Li Jing was stunned when he saw this Taiyan Shenju. 3000 points. Knowledge-related things are generally very cheap, such as the language and secret books I bought before, which are only a few dozen or a few hundred points. But this Taiyan Shenju, 3000, it can be seen that it should be an extraordinary method. After asking the housekeeper, Li Jing no longer considered buying it, and then bought the illusion collection worth 300 points. 3,300, plus 5,000 for the creation furnace, and 5,000 for exchanging sus materials. The total points left are 11,300. Butler, I want to forge a new weapon. Okay, sir. His own strength was growing stronger and stronger. The previous Tang sword was too light and could not bring out his advantages at all. When the butler summoned the furnace of creation, Li Jing took out the sun and moon swords and the yin-yang fan from the tattoo space. Chapter 91 Taiyan Divine Art. After throwing both treasures into the creation furnace, Li Jing spent another 3,000 points to buy various precious ores. These ores can be sold in the sundries category of the mall. Although sus materials can synthesize anything, these ores need time to be tempered to form by coincidence, which is much cheaper than directly using sus materials to shape them. In other words, the same piece of stone costs 10 points to buy in the mall, but if it is synthesized using the creation furnace, it will cost several times or even dozens of times the price. Another point is that the things in the mall should be left by the previous master, and there are not many things. If you need something that is not in the mall, you need to use sus materials to synthesize it, or find it yourself. It took a long time to forge the weapon this time. Li Jing once again spent 2,000 points to exchange sus materials for integration into the creation furnace, and this brand new weapon was truly forged. This is a folding fan with a faint stream of light. It is 1 foot long and looks like paper, but it has a metallic luster flashing from time to time. The front side has a picture of the sun at its zenith, and the back side has a picture of 100 demons parading at night. Swish, with a thought in his mind, the folded fan suddenly ejected a sword blade more than 1 meter long, 2 fingers wide, half white and half black. This fan sword is more than that. It can increase its own weight and the length of the blade according to the owner's wishes, and it has its own space inside, making it a treasure with the ability to grow. Another 5,000 points. Now there are 6,300 points left. Li Jing exhaled and said, "Butler, send me out." As the old man waved his hand, Li Jing returned to the study again. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening, and it took more than 5 hours just to forge the fan sword. Sky, how many downloads have been made of the software? Boss, it has exceeded 200 million worldwide. Well, what are the major software companies doing now? Boss, there is nothing happening. It's only been a day. I guess those people are still in meetings and don't have time to react. Well, I'll get the things I told you to do done as soon as possible, and keep an eye on the internet. Don't worry, boss, leave the things to me. I promise to get them done for you. Sky started to flatter him like a slut. Since it was connected to the internet, it has changed very quickly. It should have the function of self-learning and upgrading. Li Jing shook his head and smiled, and didn't care anymore. After taking a shower and changing clothes, Li Jing lay down on the bed. In his mind, there were still the Tian Shenju and Illusion Collection that he had just bought. Illusion Collection, as the name suggests, is a collection of various illusion uses. Tian Shenju is different. If ordinary people read it, it must be obscure and difficult to understand. However, Li Jing relied on the function of the space-time system to fully understand this mental method, but further practice will depend entirely on one's own efforts. Tian Shenju is divided into 9 levels in stages. It is an advanced method for cultivating mental power. In each level, there are several unique ways to use mental power attacks. This is an extremely comprehensive mental power method. The first level is to gather the spirit like the sea. It is to gather the ethereal mental power together and synthesize a liquid like mental ocean. Just for this entry level, if ordinary people practice it, they may not succeed even if they spend decades or hundreds of years. Li Jing lay on the bed, with no distractions, as if he was in a trance. This shows the benefits of the previous state of mind improvement. Otherwise, it would be fatal for a young man to practice this kind of practice that is like a monk's enlightenment. The brain utilization rate has been developed to 20%, and the sixth sense of intuition belonging to humans has also been developed and utilized. Li Jing imagined the stars and the universe in his mind, and suddenly felt a dark cloud of gas. Is this a person's mental power? What kind of state is the supernatural power such as telekinesis? As soon as the distracting thoughts came to mind, Li Jing immediately exited the state of floating in the universe. He opened his eyes to calm down, and then closed his eyes again to practice the exercises. Nothing happened during the night. When Li Jing woke up again, it was already early morning. He still hadn't practiced the first level of Tian Shenju and hadn't even entered the entrance, but his mental state was indeed much better. There were still a lot of things to do today. He had to go to see a house in the morning and have an interview in the afternoon. All the work was arranged properly by an intelligent butler, and the number of software downloads on the internet also changed every day. Nearly 500 million people have downloaded and used it worldwide. After a simple meal, Li Jing drove the Porsche to Yaxuan Villa. It was agreed yesterday afternoon that the agent would send someone to receive him at the villa, and Li Jing just had to go directly. Half an hour's journey. The Porsche drove more and more smoothly. This place is a semi-suburban location close to the mountains, and the transportation is very convenient. It is not too remote, and there are not many passing vehicles. Yaxuan Villa was also built not long ago, and it was a brand new villa area. Li Jing drove the car all the way into the villa area. The security guard at the gate who passed by just took a quick look and let him go. It seemed that the agency had already greeted him. Mr. Li. Li Jing was greeted as soon as he parked the car. Li Jing knew the person who came. It was the sales manager of the agency. She also received him yesterday. However, managers are not worth much these days. Even ordinary salesmen who go out The business cards they carry are mostly printed with the position of manager, which does not mean anything at all. After saying hello, under the guidance of the agency manager, the two entered the villa. The overall style of this villa is still European, mainly light colors, and the decoration is also extremely exquisite and luxurious. The villa has a total of 12 rooms, and the layout is also arranged ingeniously. There are 4 bedrooms, a living room, a study, and a collection room upstairs. Half of the space downstairs is divided into a living room, which looks very spacious and bright. The rest is the kitchen, servants' room and exercise room. There was no excessive negotiation. If they liked it, they liked it. The full payment was 38 million, and the installment payment could be paid off within 2 years, but the interest would be nearly 2 million. Li Jing chose the installment payment and directly transferred 10 million. He signed the purchase contract and could get the key and move in directly. After the agent left, Li Jing walked around the villa again. Danyan, the interview in the afternoon will be arranged here. Please notify the agent and the headhunting company. Boss, the hotel we booked can be cancelled. Li Jing nodded. Well, cancel it. I didn't expect this headhunting company to act so quickly. It took less than a day to find the right person. Boss, maybe they just happened to have such a talent on hand. Besides, the price we offered is not low. It would be strange if they didn't act quickly. Haha, maybe. Chapter 92 Hard Training. Nowadays, the smart housekeepers on the internet have become a new type of weather vane. This is the general trend, and no one can resist it. Even if some clowns jump out, they will be crushed by the wheels of the general trend. There is no other end. All major software companies held meetings, and the content of the meeting was to discuss countermeasures and find a way out. Otherwise, the company will definitely be hit and hit hard by the market, and the decision-maker's career will be over. But there are conservatives and radicals. Some people want to save their lives in the coming wave, while others want to decipher the core code of the intelligent system as soon as possible, and then turn themselves into a favorable party. This includes many large consortiums, and even more. Some state departments also want to get a piece of the pie in the emerging intelligent era. Websites, television, news, newspapers, magazines, radio, headlines, covers, topics, reports. Crazy, popular, and very popular. Everything that can be used for communication and information transmission is now talking about all topics related to intelligent systems. Everyone has a smartphone in hand, and everyone is the master of the housekeeper. This is the beginning of an intelligent era, and this is a big bang of technological progress. It seems that overnight, this era has entered another era. Smart. As long as you have an electronic device in your hand, you are a 5-year-old kid. You can also have your own housekeeper. Let it call you master. A small software has become the beginning of changing an era. A few days passed, and Li Jing also moved into the villa. The recruitment work has been almost done. The headhunting company brought a nearly 40-year-old professional woman who has 6 years of experience as a general manager of a large software company. The reason why this woman resigned is also due to many reasons. Li Jing is quite satisfied with this woman named Chen Dan. After hiring her with an annual salary of several million, the trivial matters of setting up the company were handed over to Chen Dan to handle. And Chen Dan did not mean to look down on Li Jing, a young man, because just one reason was enough. Sky intelligence. What does this epoch-making technology mean? It is estimated that anyone who is not a fool can clearly distinguish it. 2 people were hired in the villa. One was a big sister who was responsible for cooking and cleaning, and the other was a professional assistant who was responsible for the trivial matters around Li Jing. Boss, Mr. Chen has rented an office building, and the human resources department has been established. As for the company registration, I wonder how it is going now? Don't worry about it. The company has been registered. Sky Technology. The future funds will go through the company's account. Okay. The assistant wrote it down and said, what about the financial aspect? It has been recruited by a headhunting company, and it should be soon. These things are things that Li Jing needs to handle personally, because professional managers and financial aspects have to face Li Jing, the only director, directly. The assistant nodded and said again, Boss, do you want to go to the company this afternoon? Or organize a personnel meeting or something? I won't go today. As for the meeting time, you can arrange it, okay? The assistant nodded, and when Li Jing waved his hand, she automatically left the second-floor living room and went to the first floor. The assistant's name is Zhang Xin, 28 years old. As for whether she is really loyal to Li Jing, it is unknown, but her professional ethics and professional ability are indeed very good. Li Jing got up and went into the study, and in the blink of an eye he was inside the space-time system again. Butler, can you bring people from other time and space to Earth? Yes, sir, but you need to become an intermediate master selector to do this. Li Jing frowned slightly. Although his development on Earth was not slow, he did not have any good helpers around him. He already had a huge talent pool, but he had to start again little by little. This was somewhat putting the cart before the horse. If he had that much free time, he might as well practice his own skills. Intermediate Master Selector, 200,000 points, and I have only earned 30,000 points in the 3 time and space travels so far. Does it mean that I have to go through more than a dozen time and space travels to become an Intermediate Master Selector? It's too slow. By that time, I guess I won't need the support of talents from other time and space to develop on Earth. Master, what you need now is accumulation, not explosive rapid progress. Your own abilities and cultivation techniques also need time to settle before they can really help you survive better. So no matter how anxious you are, you can't solve the problem. Li Jing nodded in agreement. Indeed, his chakra cultivation is neither good nor bad, and so is his self-control. In addition, the newly purchased Tian Shenju is just getting started. His own trump card is not rich. He can crush ordinary people directly, but it is impossible to be so lucky every time he enters time and space. In the following time, Li Jing returned to the days when he worked hard to cultivate. Even if there was a big thing, he would delay it as much as possible. Even at the personnel meeting of Tanyan Technology, he only attended it once. In less than an hour, he came back to enter the time and space system to cultivate. Professional managers play a big role. Although Li Jing, the chairman, is not very powerful, the general manager Chen Dan does have the ability of a professional. In less than half a month, she managed Tanyan Technology Company in an orderly manner and gradually got on the right track. A series of measures released later also transformed Tanyan Technology, which originally had no income, into a real money-making machine. After a free trial of Tanyan Intelligent software for half a month, it finally began to update the official paid version of Tanyan 1.0. The cost is not expensive, 1 yuan a day, 30 yuan a month, and 300 yuan a year. If the user does not update the software, the original trial version of the housekeeper will be automatically uninstalled. More than 1 billion people have downloaded it worldwide, and part of it is directly paid for the annual fee. For this fee alone, Tanyan Technology has earned more than 60 billion, a few dozen yuan a month, and the smart housekeeper is by your side. Few people will give up using the smart housekeeper because of this little money. Because the smart housekeeper has completely captured the hearts of people around the world in just half a month, it is no longer just a cold software, but has become an indispensable good friend, a good partner, and even an ideal lover. During this period, Li Jing did not leave the house. As long as he could bear it, he would continue to practice. Start with self-control. When the body becomes weak, refine chakra until it can no longer be extracted. Then practice the spiritual level of Tian Shenju. Repeat this cycle. New sheepfold of the Cobra Force, 170.756.165. New recruits are welcome. Chapter 93. Despicable Me. Ding Mo called, Shen Tingting called, Juk called, Wang Bao and Fatty called, and even Curly, who was beaten before, called once. Li Jing turned down all the calls he could, and only sent a gift money to Zhang Yan's wedding, but he didn't go. Curly called to report about the actions of Wang Shugo and the 3 Lin families. They couldn't find the murderer, but wanted to take action against Li Jing, the initiator. Again, Li Jing just smiled and didn't care. Lin family? Through the search of the sky, Li Jing already knew the details of this family. It's better not to come, otherwise he would just be delivering food. Ordinary people are ordinary people. No matter how high an ant jumps, it can't threaten a lion. During the training period, Li Jing often returned to the Special Forces time and space. There is a connection with the time and space bridge, and he can enter at any time. The operation of a time and space still takes a lot of energy. In this regard, if you want to reap the fruits, you must carefully care for and cultivate it. Spending 4,500 points, Li Jing expanded the tattoo space to 1,000 cubic meters. As things got bigger and bigger, the previous 100 cubic meters were obviously not enough. There were 1,800 points left, plus the 100 points per day for special forces. There were now a total of 4,600 points. It was November 22nd, and it was time for another time travel. Butler, let's get started. Okay, sir. The gate rose, but it turned green. Through the butler's introduction, Li Jing also roughly understood the functions of these different time and space gates. The time and space gate is adjusted according to the energy response of the master, but because of the system suppression, the time and space that Li Jing traveled through has been lowered by one level. In other words, Li Jing, who was supposed to enter the third level time and space, was directly suppressed in the second level time and space because of the system's own adjustment. Is it because the energy is scarce, so you don't want the master to die too early? Li Jing smiled slightly and stepped into the already open green gate. The time-space conversion is many times faster than human nerve reflexes. Li Jing, who has been getting stronger, has only just discovered the signs of time-space conversion after several shuttles. It seems that in just a flick of a finger, the space has slowly stabilized. Li Jing stands firm, accompanied by a slight feeling of motion sickness. This is because the speed is too fast and the cells and nerves of the human body have no time to react. Swoosh! The fan sword popped out, and Li Jing's first reaction was to take defensive actions first. The random shuttle of the time-space system is too dangerous. Who knows what kind of environment it will appear in? Hey, haha tilde huh? Hey, Alabama guess. Ba tilde, woo ha 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 tilde matiga, majigati, woo la 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 tilde. There was a chaotic voice, and it didn't sound human. Li Jing shook his head slightly and looked around. What he saw was all yellow. One by one, in a large group, with big eyes and a mouth, no nose or ears, sparse hair and glasses, about 100 centimeters tall, wearing overalls. Fuck. Li Jing couldn't help but curse. Seeing this familiar scene, he knew what movie it was even without the system conveying information. Minions, Despicable Me. No matter how he thought about it, he would never have thought that he would enter such a world. What is this for? Unify the minions and become the overlord of the minions? The setting of this movie is very weird, not to mention all kinds of high-tech weapons and equipment. Even the characters in it have all kinds of weird personalities, and they are very difficult to kill. Li Jing exhaled, looking at the group of minions in front of him, and began to stare at each other. Needless to say, Li Jing is the weaker party. Not only is the quality and size not comparable, but even the number is 1 against 1,000. There is no comparison. La la baji, a ha 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 tilde dog chicken. Alabama I guess. Tsk tilde beida. Ah ha 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 tilde. Li Jing's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he felt more stressed than a big battle. This situation, how to deal with it? Looking up. This should be an underground space. Is it the underground base of the movie protagonist Gru? What is the time and space system? Why do you choose to drill into other people's basements? Is it because you didn't have money to buy a house in your previous life, and your resentment is too deep? Damn. Cursing inwardly, Li Jing turned around and began to look for a way out. He couldn't stay here for long, not to mention that he would be discovered by Gru in a while. Even the group of Chunabu minions around him would be enough to bear. Good idea, but a pity. Alabama I guess. Balala? The minions surrounded Li Jing in the center in a minute, and they were airtight, and Li Jing didn't understand a word of what the representatives said. The language is not communicated. Did I buy too few languages at the beginning? It seems that this is not sold in the system mall. Actually I'm just here for a visit and will leave soon. Do you believe it? The minions can understand English, but they all shook their heads in response to Li Jing. Well, it should be the head that is shaking. Anyway, it's the upper half of the body. Actually I'm an alien. Do you believe it? Shaking head tilde I'm here to make friends with you. Do you believe it? Shaking head tilde I'm here to borrow the toilet tilde shaking head tilde I am tilde shaking head tilde fuck. I haven't told you yet, okay? Still shaking head tilde you guys tilde look, big banana. Swish tilde the minions turned around and looked in the direction Li Jing pointed. Li Jing stepped hard on his feet, flew up, and directly grabbed a steel beam in the air. He jumped up again and lifted it up, and Li Jing turned over. Who told the crisis has not been resolved yet. Seeing that they were deceived by the minions, they collectively began to scatter and search for Li Jing's whereabouts. Even a considerable number of them were carrying weapons and equipment, guns, missiles, bombs, all kinds of weapons, endlessly appearing. Li Jing felt that he was not very good. Who knew who was the person involved in this situation, being chased by the minions? Why was he so lame? What kind of gods and heroes are the parents of these yellow kids? Li Jing took a deep breath, and the cell control of the second-level peak ran quickly. The 300 billion cells were like fine sand flowing in the desert, quickly combining, running, compressing, deforming, and changing color. Suddenly, Li Jing's hair all retracted, and a yellow dot suddenly appeared on the exposed bald head. The yellow dot became bigger and bigger, like paint expanding on paper. After a while, Li Jing turned yellow. Cocket tilde the bones shrank and deformed, and Li Jing's height of 1.78 meters was slowly shrunk to 100 centimeters, and he looked like a large minion. He has reached his limit. He can't get any smaller. Maybe when he reaches level 3, he can even shrink to the size of a ball. Li Jing put away his clothes and put on a pair of large shorts. Unfortunately, he forgot that he was on a very narrow beam and he was still the size of a minion. Tilde bang tilde Li Jing kicked off his shorts. His legs were too short and he couldn't stand firmly. He fell off the beam without paying attention and landed directly in a pile of minions who were still looking for him. The minions were startled and froze in place. But before a few seconds had passed, the minions began to chatter and surrounded Li Jing, the large minion. Chapter 94 Minions. Abu guess, la la baji, shit. Li Jing cursed inwardly. It seems that being with the minions for a long time can indeed be contagious. He clearly knew that he couldn't speak the same language as the minions, but he was so stupid as to turn into a minion and try to blend in with them. How the hell did he come up with this idea? Could it be that after being with the minions for such a short time, he was infected with the minions? It was so scary. Baji baji, ahaha tilde the minions pointed at the big Li Jing and laughed. Li Jing could only choose to turn a blind eye like a blind man. Damn, if you piss me off, I will blow all of you shitty animals into twists. Kahula hula tilde with a light sound. The minions and the base collectively began to cheer in chaos. Before Li Jing could figure out what was going on, a man walked out of the passage made by the minions on the side. This man was dressed in black, wearing a scarf, with a shiny bald head and a huge hooked nose. He was obviously the protagonist Gru in the movie. He smiled and greeted many minions, and walked slowly to a high platform. You look good, Kevin. How is everyone at home? Gru accepted the minions' cheers like a star. He smiled and shook hands with fans, looking very proud. Very good. My little Billy, how are you, Larry? Li Jing squatted down and slowly hid among the minions. Is the plot about to begin? This time card is really accurate. Hello, everyone. Like a superstar in the center of the stage, Gru opened his arms to interact with many fans. The corners of his mouth curled up, and he felt a lot more comfortable listening to the minions' shouts. Quiet, quiet. The minions were still cheering loudly. Quiet tilde Gru roared loudly, and the minions calmed down sparsely. Gru raised his hand to his mouth. Ahem. Well, good. Everyone should have heard that some villain stole the pyramid. Obviously, this is a big deal. Everyone calls it the crime of the century or something. Gru shook his finger, smiled slightly, and then said, Am I not calm? No, I am not. Born with a villain's appearance and not even graduated from acting preschool, Gru said that he didn't care, but unfortunately his expression had completely betrayed him. Gru was performing on the stage, while Li Jing was receiving information from the tattoo space below. Time and space, the world of Super Dad. Time, 2010. Location, Earth. Historical plot, The thief Gru is a terrible villain who is determined to do the world's #1 case. After being provoked by Vector to steal the pyramid, Gru and Dr. Nefario made a plan to steal the moon, and he was determined to get back the lost title of the #1 villain in the universe. Unexpectedly, Gru's action was frustrated. When he tried to steal the shrinking ray gun, it was snatched away by Vector. In order to regain his villain title and the shrinking ray gun, Gru started a fierce battle with Vector. Return condition, change history. Damn it, change your sister. Li Jing cursed inwardly. The world he traveled to this time was too bad. How could this change history? Did he have to kill Gru? But the problem should not be here at all. The contest between two villains. One of them found his conscience, became a good person, and adopted 3 children. What kind of plot is this? The pattern is too small. There is no place to start. After thinking about it, Li Jing can be regarded as a loss-making and profitable trip. He came to travel. Apart from the high-tech technology of this world, he can't even think about other sus points. No hope. Whoosh tilde boom tilde a tilde a tilde a tilde. A burst of chaos also woke Li Jing up. It turned out to be a minion named Dave. After hearing Gru say that there was a big operation, he was so excited that he pulled the trigger of the missile launcher in his hand. The missile flew and blew up a group of minions into the sky, making them all black. Li Jing's forehead was covered with black lines again. The scene in front of him seemed like a joke, too frivolous. Li Jing also knew the information of this minion through the tattoo space. Minions have a very long history, even dating back to the dinosaur era. They evolved from a magical single cell. The language used by minions is extremely complex, a mixture of multiple languages, English, Chinese, and various languages. Minions can only speak some simple words. As for the others, let alone Li Jing, even Gru and Dr. Nefario, who have been living with him for many years, should not understand them. Speaking of the devil, Dr. Nefario, wearing a white coat, rode a small bicycle and entered the venue slowly. Li Jing hid among the minions, reached out and slapped the minion that was touching his butt, and turned to look at everything that was happening in front of him. Gru's plan was simple, which was to rely on the power of the shrinking ray gun to shrink the moon to the size of a ball, and then bring it back to Earth. Unfortunately, he didn't even have the money to build a rocket to the sky. Gru's crimes were all funded by a sin bank, and this time was no exception. Gru immediately thought of this bank and wanted to borrow money to build a rocket to the sky and implement the moon-stealing plan in order to regain his title of the first evil man in the universe. Gru left. Dr. Nefario also left, and the remaining minions scattered and started to get busy again. Li Jing was thinking about how to get these advanced technologies, whether it was the shrinking ray gun, or the biological gene technology, as well as various aircraft technologies, weapons technologies, base facility technologies, and monitoring technologies. These high technologies were all worth grabbing. If you can't earn points and can't get the technology, then it will be really useless. Bearable? Li Jing was startled and turned around to see a little yellow man pulling his pants. Li Jing pulled its claws apart. What was it doing? Was it molesting him? What are you doing? The little yellow man was startled and then howled. Was this bigger kind in front of him the doctor's new work? Not only was he big, but he was also articulate and spoke so clearly. That was English. Li Jing covered the mouth of the little yellow man. Was his second-year syndrome serious again? How could he talk to a little yellow man? Don't talk. If you talk again, I will chop you into pieces and eat you. The held little yellow man opened his one eye wide, as if tears were about to fall. He nodded and agreed, fearing that the big kind in front of him would really do what he said. Well, I'll put you down, and you take me to the doctor. Be honest, otherwise, I'll roast you and eat you. The little yellow man nodded vigorously. Li Jing put it down, and the minions turned around tremblingly and led the way. Li Jing followed slowly behind. These minions were not stupid and could understand what people said, but they were just missing something in their brains and messed up everything they did. They were typical middle school patients with syndrome. Chapter 95 Nano-Worm Capsules. Along the way, the underground base was full of working minions. They were busy and never stopped, and they were obviously hard-working model workers. The minions who led Li Jing were very timid, Even if they met many companions along the way, they did not dare to run for help, for fear that the big kind behind them would swallow them up. Fortunately, the minions were not smart and could not speak clearly, otherwise they would have been exposed long ago. Although they could break out by force, it was better not to act trashly before considering what to do next. Li Jing curled his lips slightly. The weapons in this world were too advanced. What kind of freezing weapons, laser weapons, ray weapons, robots, and high-tech traps were not easy to resist. Even if they didn't care about the damage of ordinary guns, no one wanted to try these high-end weapons. Dr. Nefario was doing research in the laboratory. Li Jing stopped at the door when he was led by the minions. He turned around and found a corner. With a wave of his hand, he summoned several metal coffins from the tattoo space. Bang, bang, bang. With a few soft sounds, the coffin fell to the ground. Li Jing raised his left hand and whispered, "Sky Eye, open the snake demon." "Okay, boss." The 4 metal coffins slowly opened. A burst of blue light flashed, and the frozen ice in the coffins slowly turned into cold air and dissipated. The command was input, and the 4 cold corpses suddenly opened their eyes and came alive. These snake demons were developed from the Basin Special Forces. Li Jing had too few helpers around him, and it was impossible to send talents back and forth between time and space after choosing a master at the intermediate level, as the system housekeeper said. This is an opportunistic method. First, put the living people into a state of suspended animation, then put them into the frozen coffin to isolate the breath of the living people, and then travel between different time and space through the accommodation of the tattoo space. The 4 snake demons stood up and stepped out of the coffin. Li Jing took out a newly developed nano-worm capsule, opened the mouth of the minion and fed it to him. The minion whimpered but could not make a sound. After a few seconds, he fainted. After throwing the minion into the coffin, Li Jing put the coffin away again. The nano-worm capsule is the latest thing developed by Rex. The person who takes it will be occupied by the nano-worms in the brain nerves and completely obey the orders given. Moreover, under the outbreak of nano-worms, the person can truly regenerate broken limbs and restore broken bones, because the cells in his body have been replaced by nano-worms. Sky Eye, take over the network system here. Yes, boss, please wait. It didn't take long for Sky Eye to break through the system core of this base. Li Jing restored his true form and broke into Dr. Nefario's laboratory with 4 snake demons. "Hey, who are you?" Li Jing smiled slightly, and with a wave of his hand, the 4 snake demons had surrounded the doctor in the center. "Take off his clothes." With an order, the 4 snake demons moved together, grabbed the doctor's clothes and pulled them off. Squeak squeak tilde. Hey, what are you doing? Dr. Nefario was already quite old. He tried hard to protect his clothes and struggled violently, but unfortunately his small body was no match for the snake demon. The snake demon had no sense of pain and no perception. In theory, it could grow and expand infinitely like the Hulk, but the only difference was that one needed anger and the other needed sufficient energy supply. Stop quickly, I'm old. What on earth are you doing? Squeak squeak. 2 soft sounds, and the last pink fig leaf of the doctor was torn off by the snake demon. Li Jing casually threw a pair of pants over and asked the doctor to put them on. He did this not because he was perverted, but because the people in this world were too perverted, and Li Jing didn't want to leave any hidden means for the hostages. Sure enough, among the clothes that were torn off, there were several remote controls hidden, and there were also a bunch of small tools. It was estimated that even if he was tied up with handcuffs and chains, he would have a way to escape in a minute. After forcing Dr. Nefario to swallow the nano-worm capsule, Li Jing said, "Doctor, I haven't activated the little thing you ate yet. This is because you still have a great role to play for me. I am very optimistic about your research talent. I hope you won't disappoint me." Li Jing took out the nano-worm capsule, and the capsule fell to the ground with a loose finger. After the command was issued, the capsule on the ground began to melt and turned into a pool of green mist. The nano-worms then began to eat everything they came into contact with, even the floor. It was like the burning of sulfuric acid, like the gnawing of ants. In just a few seconds, a huge deep pit appeared on the floor. Following Li Jing's command, The nanoworms controlled by the Sky were automatically destroyed. The only thing left was the deep pit on the floor, which was still very eye-catching. "Who are you? What do you want to do?" "Don't worry about what I do, Doctor. You just need to know that you should do whatever I tell you to do. Do you understand? Otherwise, the pit on the ground will be the end of your old age." I got it." The situation was stronger than the person, and Dr. Nefario could only temporarily agree and wait for rescue. As for the terrifying effect of the nanoworm capsule, although the doctor was frightened, he was not at the point of being helpless. "Boss, the information has been sorted out and downloaded." "Yes," Li Jing nodded. "The technology in this world is too advanced. Compared with the Earth, it is at least 100 years higher. These precious technical data must not be missed. Moreover, Dr. Nefario's base is just a small private base. If it is a base of a consortium or a country, there is no telling what kind of high technology it will have. Doctor, notify the minions here and let them come here in batches." "I'm fine." The doctor, who wanted to say something, was given a cold look by Li Jing, and he changed his tone in time and agreed. The minions received the notice and entered the laboratory in batches. Li Jing carried a large number of nanoworm capsules, and it was easy to copy this kind of capsule. As long as there was a capsule as a primer, enough nanoworm capsules could be copied in a short time. Minions, catch a batch and feed a batch. It felt like a kindergarten teacher dealing with a kid who didn't want to eat. Li Jing was annoyed to death before he completed this difficult task. In the entire base, except for the Master Gru, everyone else had become Li Jing's captive. Looking at the minions lying on the floor of the laboratory, as if they were about to die, Li Jing frowned and drove them all out. "The nanoworms haven't started yet, okay? If you don't know, you might think they are all poisoned." Li Jing stretched out his finger and pressed the last minion who went out. With a little force, the minion was turned half a circle and faced backwards. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96 East Asia Laboratory. Go call Gru over and tell him that the doctor wants to see you. Forget it, just call him down. Li Jing waved his hand to send the minion away. He was really a middle school student. He wanted the minion to convey such a clear message. He must be crazy. It didn't take long, just about 3 hours. Just when Li Jing couldn't help but want to do it himself, the minion took Gru to walk slowly into the laboratory. "Hey, doctor, what new have you come up with?" "Hello, Mr. Gru." Gru was startled and reached out to take out a gun and pointed it at the stranger in front of him. His hooked nose drooped and his eyes were sharp, which made him look even more ferocious. "Who are you?" Gru said word by word. "It doesn't matter who I am, Mr. Gru. You'd better put away your weapon first, otherwise." Li Jing took out a remote control and pressed it lightly. Beep. Red lights were lit everywhere in the entire underground base. As the red lights flashed, the dangerous signals made Gru suddenly sweat a few drops. "What do you want to do?" "Mr. Gru, it's very simple. I want to shrink the ray gun." "You don't have to do it. Just lead the way." "What a joke." "Why?" Gru smiled coldly. "Threat?" He has heard too many words like this. Haha. Li Jing shook his head and smiled slightly, saying, "Don't you see the situation clearly? Unless you don't care about the life of this doctor." Stepping aside, Dr. Nefario, who appeared behind Li Jing, spread his hands and smiled bitterly, indicating that he was powerless to resist. Gru's eyes widened, and then he became quiet again. Although he was a bad guy, he only did some things equivalent to pranks. As for hurting others, he really didn't do such a thing. Li Jing didn't urge him. He sat aside leisurely, took out a cigarette, lit it, and took a puff. "Okay, I can take you there, but I only send you and don't pick you up, okay?" Humphrey. Gru turned and left the laboratory, and Li Jing got up and followed. The 4 snake demons stayed behind to guard the place, not because they were afraid that the doctor would cause trouble. With the surveillance of the Sky, they could leave without worry. The snake demons stayed behind just to pretend to manage the minions. After leaving the underground base, Li Jing followed Gru and boarded his strange aircraft. This aircraft looked like a freak, an extremely uncoordinated steel worm with a thruster that looked cumbersome and redundant. Gru started the aircraft with a cold face. His plan had not been prepared yet, and suddenly such an annoying guy appeared. And he also knew the information about the shrinking ray gun. He felt particularly uncomfortable. The aircraft took off and accelerated suddenly. Li Jing sat leisurely beside Gru to watch the scenery, while Gru drove the aircraft with a long face and had no intention of speaking. The journey was smooth and the aircraft went directly to the sky above a research base in East Asia. Li Jing was a little puzzled. Could it be that this world is like in the movies, and entering a base is as convenient as visiting your own vegetable garden? There is a saying that the world has a crow's mouth, but just thinking about it, Li Jing's wish has been fulfilled. This base suddenly armed itself like a giant beast awakening. There was a sound of kakaka. Hundreds of anti-aircraft missiles were aimed at the aircraft where Li Jing was in the blink of an eye. Damn, Humphrey. Li Jing cursed himself for being too crow, but Gru smiled coldly. Obviously, he had seen such a scene many times. He pulled with both hands, and the aircraft immediately rose to a high altitude, and then turned around and swooped down like an eagle. Gru gently pressed the button. Beep kakaka tilde. Many missiles appeared on the left and right of the aircraft. Gru pressed the button again, and missiles of various types were launched at the same time. Whoosh 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 tilde. Like large fireworks, dozens of missiles flew all the way to the ground with green smoke. Boom 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 tilde. A series of explosions. The anti-aircraft weapons of the ground base were all destroyed. Gru did not look at the situation on the ground, but turned his head and smiled coldly at Li Jing. His expression seemed to say, "This is the tragic end of offending me, the number one villain in the universe." Li Jing waved his hand nonchalantly, signaling Gru to park the aircraft on the roof of the base. After the aircraft landed smoothly, Li Jing smiled and spoke, "Mr. Gru, thank you for your special plane pickup. In return, I will give you something good to eat." Stop pretending. Before Gru could finish speaking, Li Jing had already exerted absolute speed to approach Gru. Before Gru's nerves could react, Li Jing grabbed his neck and stuffed something into his mouth. Ahem tilde. What is this? Gru held his neck, just wanting to spit out the unknown object he had swallowed. Good stuff. After we go back, you can ask the doctor yourself. He has eaten it, although he doesn't like the taste and efficacy. Li Jing got off the aircraft and waved his hand, saying, "Wait for me here, otherwise what you eat will kill you." Without paying attention to Gru's feelings, Li Jing walked to the edge of the building and flew down directly. After landing to a certain level, Li Jing activated his chakra, and the soles of his feet were covered with blue. In a few steps, he was already firmly fixed on the vertical wall. Crackling tilde. The glass shattered, and Li Jing flew into the building, but the armed forces here had already taken precautions. As soon as Li Jing entered, he was greeted by a series of laser weapons shooting. Kite 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 tilde. The sound was too slight, leaving only small holes on the walls and floors that were shot. As Li Jing dodged, the yin-yang fan sword suddenly appeared in his hand, and his heart moved. Swoosh. The fan sword suddenly ejected a straight blade, and the blade extended several feet in length as he wished. Kite kite. The sword pierced through the weapons and bodies of several soldiers without any obstruction, as if they were made of paper. Li Jing held the handle of the fan and slashed with great force. The sword cut most of the soldiers in the room in half without a drop of blood. 2 magical props, 5,000 sus points. This yin-yang bipolar treasure is extraordinary. It is not enough to describe it as cutting iron like mud and chopping people like cutting vegetables. Da tilde. Several round silver iron balls rolled into the group of soldiers. With a few bangs, the remaining soldiers were all shot and killed on the spot by the steel nails that popped out. Who tilde. After exhaling a foul breath, Li Jing had time to look at the facilities in the room. The laser weapons were indeed powerful. Li Jing's Rhino organization that was enough to withstand rifle bullets did not dare to use them to test the power of laser weapons. Bang 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 tilde. 10 coffins were summoned at will, the sky eye was unlocked, the snake demon was activated, and the laser weapons just intercepted were used to equip them. Li Jing then gave orders. The snake demons scattered and began to attack the entire experimental building. Chapter 97. The snake demon's body is full of nanoworm structures. Even if its head is cut off, the nanoworms can reassemble and recover. Therefore, as long as it is not attacked by a powerful shrouding weapon, the snake demon is an immortal existence. Sky, have you broken through the core of the system here? It will be done soon, boss. Wait a moment. Not long after, Sky reported again. Boss, I have completely controlled the network system here. Well, find the location of the shrinking ray gun and download all the technical information here. Okay, boss, the location of the shrinking ray gun has been found. Ding, a holographic image 3-dimensional map popped up on the watch. According to Sky's instructions, Jing acted quickly and arrived at the designated location in less than a few minutes. The shrinking ray gun is a green high-tech device. The overall appearance is like a motor. Jing easily solved the guards here and reached out to lift the shrinking ray gun. It weighed dozens of kilograms. Jing pulled the trigger and the shrinking ray gun was charged and operated. Buzz tilde whoosh tilde, a green beam of light was emitted. In less than a few seconds, a corpse on the ground shrank to the size of a palm. Jing did not stop. The green beam was still shining, and it shrank the corpse to the size of a matchbox before it stopped. Is this the limit? The power of the shrinking ray gun is very stable. It only takes a certain amount of time to use it on objects of different sizes. However, this shrinkage is not permanent, but has a time limit. The larger the mass of the object, the shorter the time it takes to recover after being shrunk. Putting away the shrinking ray gun, Jing walked around the building. The snakes and demons were fighting fiercely in several places, but Jing started a sweep mission in the building like a robber. Take whatever you see, as long as it is useful, as long as you haven't seen it before, don't let it go. It didn't take long before Jing returned to the roof with a full load. Danyan also controlled the snake demon troops to retreat, leaving only the devastated and swept experimental building, waiting for the rescue and mopping up work. Buzz tilde, the aircraft took off. Jing smiled and sat behind Gru, who looked grim. This time, they gained a lot. Many cutting-edge high-tech materials were very useful. Laser technology, electronic technology, defense technology, missile technology, power energy technology, flight propulsion technology, and all the information about shrinking ray guns. It was really a huge harvest. After flying all the way, Jing and the others returned safely to Gru's underground base. Jing once again released the snake demon soldiers that he had put away before and began to officially take over this base that belonged to Gru. Dr. Nafario, I need you to help me study a topic. What? The doctor was telling Gru about the little thing he had eaten. He was stunned when he heard Jing's words. Gru also looked at Jing with an ugly face. Who is the real robber? Who is the real villain? He held hostage, poisoned, bombed, robbed, and then occupied his own property and territory. Now he wants the doctor to pay for it with free labor. Who do you think you are? A dictatorial king? No, this is impossible. Gru hid Dr. Nafario behind his back, as if he was afraid that others would molest the old man. You have enough time to think about it. At the end of 1 minute, a minion will consider paying for you and pay the price of his life. Of course, it doesn't matter if the minions are used up. Gru, it seems that you still have relatives alive. What about the doctor? Do you have any? Enough. Dr. Nafario pushed Gru away and walked to Jing. What do you need me to do for you? Jing smiled and said, shrinking ray guns, large enough to shrink planets, small enough to be made into pistols or even smaller, and not only shrinking. I want you to make a ray gun that can magnify things. Listen carefully. I want a ray gun with permanent effects, not time-limited. This is impossible. It's unimaginable how long it would take for me to study these technologies alone. You don't understand the difficulty at all. Jing snapped his fingers and said, give me the people and the money. What kind of support do you need, whether it's talent or equipment? Doctor, just make a list and I will take care of all the preparations. That's good. Dr. Nafario could only nod and agree, then turned and left. Jing once again focused on Gru. As the world's top thief, Gru still played a big role. Don't even think about asking me to serve you. It's impossible. Oh, really? Then it seems that your friends and family are really worthless. Gru took a deep breath, suppressed his anger, and said, What do you want me to do? It's very simple. Whatever the doctor needs, you just need to help me find it. Gru didn't say anything else. It seemed that he would still have a long time to live as a captive. Damn it, don't let Gru, the ultimate villain, catch you, or you'll be in trouble. Not long after, Dr. Nefario returned again and handed Li Jing a piece of paper. There were many things written densely on the paper, many of which were names and words that Li Jing had never heard of. Doctor, I hate trouble the most. Don't test my patients casually, otherwise the result will definitely be something you don't want to see. These are the things. If you don't like them, you can tear them up. Li Jing looked into the doctor's eyes and suddenly smiled slightly. Okay. Sky, pass the information about the shrinking ray gun to the doctor. Li Jing turned his head and said, Mr. Gru, it's up to you next. Humphrey. Gru turned around and left after taking the list. Li Jing did not stop him, nor did he mean to follow him. This research will be a tug of war, and the things needed and consumed will definitely not be a little bit. Li Jing can act personally every time. If he has the time, he might as well find some people like Gru to do the work. Thieves are better with professionals. 3 months passed in the blink of an eye. Special report. Recently, laboratories in various parts of the country have been robbed repeatedly. The thief who committed the theft is actually a flying thief who has retired for many years. The skull mask. It is unknown whether it is a man or a woman, old or young. The only thing that can be found is a skull mask left at the scene of each theft. Evening news. There are reports from all over the world that a large number of scientific research talents have disappeared. The relevant national departments have stated that this incident will be regarded as a provocative act of terrorist organizations to the people of the world. The Ministry of National Defense has issued the latest. Research institutions around the world have been repeatedly robbed. Is it a premeditated terrorist attack, or is the thief industry becoming increasingly rampant? This station hereby calls on the people of the country to be vigilant and report any suspicious people in a timely manner. Chapter 98 Continuous Experiment. In the 3 months, the underground base of Gru has undergone a great transformation. Not only has the space been expanded more than 10 times, but also various scientific research talents have gathered here, working non-stop. Expansion ray. Prepare for the 315th test. Energy is stable. Frequency is normal. Structure is stable. Prepare for the test. 3, 2, 1, start. Buzz. The expansion ray device vibrated slightly, and suddenly emitted a red energy ray, which enveloped a goat. The goat trembled violently several times, and then became more and more serious. The frequency is abnormal. The energy is abnormal. The structure is abnormal. Buzz. Boom. In the test area, there was a loud bang, and the expansion ray device was blown to pieces. The goat exposed to the ray also turned into a freak with a head as big as its body, and fell to the ground and died. Clean up the site and prepare for the next test. Obviously they were used to it. The explosion and the death of the goat did not affect the researchers here at all. The group of people had a clear division of labor. They continued to do what they were supposed to do. They were orderly and not chaotic at all. The laboratory was opened. Li Jing stepped in, and with a glance, he found the figure of Dr. Nefario. Dr. Nefario also saw Li Jing. He slowly found a briefcase next to him and threw it to Li Jing. The information of the contraction ray gun is complete, and it is much easier to improve it. But the expansion ray, which is the opposite of it, we cannot control it for the time being. We need further research and experiments. The briefcase was opened, and there were 2 green pistols inside. Li Jing took out one, pointed it at a table next to him and pulled the trigger. Buzz. Whoosh. The firing speed was not fast. The green ray hit the table like a thicker laser. The table trembled a few times and suddenly shrank and became smaller until it was the size of a matchbox. Is this a permanent effect? The doctor shook his head. It just lasted longer than before. A permanent effect only exists in theory, but our technology is far from reaching it. Keep researching. This is not enough. It's far from what I want. Li Jing turned around and walked back. Dr. Nefario shrugged and spread his hands at Li Jing's back. Okay, the high technology in this world is extremely advanced. For 3 months, the research on the ray gun has never stopped, and Li Jing himself has not been idle. He has been traveling around the laboratories around the world, using the Sky Eye to break through the local system core to collect information, while robbing and sweeping away all useful things. And thieves like Gru were kidnapped and held hostage by Li Jing from all over the world. Hundreds of them were ordered to prepare for the experiments of scientific research talents in the base. Time has passed, and more than half a year has passed again. In the underground base of Gru's house, there are more people here than before, and they are busier, and the place has expanded again, hollowing out the surrounding underground, forming a huge space of hundreds of thousands of cubic meters. Expansion Ray, 9366th experiment. Get ready. Energy output is stable. Frequency is normal. Structure is stable and normal. Start. Buzz tilde whoosh tilde. The red ray suddenly enveloped a rabbit. The rabbit trembled violently a few times, and suddenly swelled up like a balloon. When it grew to the size of an elephant, the experimenter barely ended the ray irradiation. The test device is normal. The test subject is in normal condition. Data and information. Li Jing watched everything in front of him closely. This was not the first success, but it was the most stable and fastest one. Looking at the big rabbit that was still hazy and at a loss, Li Jing suddenly smiled slightly. This guy will not starve to death in the future. How many carrots are enough for it to eat at such a big size? Ding dee boss. The large shrinking ray device has been installed on the spacecraft. What do you think? Hearing the report from Tanyan, Li Jing nodded. Notify the arrangement. Land on the moon in 3 days. Okay, boss. The 5,000 points of sus material have been consumed, and the chakra cultivation has reached the bottleneck of artifacts. The first level of Taiyan Shenju has also been completed. The concentration of spirit is like the sea. Li Jing's mental power at this time seems to have been activated, gathering together to form a blue spiritual ocean. The mental ability has improved, but the cell control that has reached the peak of the second level a few months ago can't take the step of entering the third level. Even if all the sus materials are consumed and absorbed, these energies are only stored in the body, and they can't play any role in advancement. Li Jing guessed that this should be the result of the lack of battle. Cells have the ability to adapt to the environment and eliminate weakened genes. Without natural enemies, the information obtained by the cells is no longer evolution, but reproduction. This is the rigid law of survival of the fittest in nature, and they can't escape such habitual laws. I can't stay in this world any longer. After 3 days, Li Jing boarded the ready-made spacecraft. This aircraft is not a traditional straight-tube model, but a collection of the hard work of many scientific researchers to create this extremely advanced spacecraft model. Ding tilde start the gravity adjustment device. The spacecraft took off and floated away from the ground. Boom tilde the thrusters ignited, and the spacecraft quickly took off. The 100-meter-long body directly broke through the speed of sound. In a very short time, it rushed into the clouds and then soared into the starry sky. Li Jing stood in front of the transparent glass window and looked at the blue earth that was getting farther and farther away. The picture was beautiful, which made people feel relaxed and happy, but there was a sense of longing. Hometown, relatives, friends, filled his heart. Ding tilde we have entered outer space, boss. Well, start it. Okay. The spacecraft continued to sail for a distance, and suddenly stopped slowly. The spacecraft then adjusted its direction, and the wall facing the Earth slowly opened, revealing a huge device hidden inside. Buzz tilde the familiar green energy was running, and the huge device made a slight humming sound. A few seconds later, the device suddenly emitted a thick green ray. Whoosh tilde the ray was very fast, reaching the surface of the Earth, and then quickly covering the entire surface of the planet. The green ray continued, and the energy kept running. The huge Earth suddenly trembled slightly a few times, before the humans on the Earth could react. The shrinking ray was like the hand of God, shrinking the entire Earth, shrinking, and shrinking again, and even all the individuals on the Earth were no exception. Buzz tilde the energy continued, and in just a few dozen seconds, the huge Earth had disappeared, replaced by a small sphere like a globe. I don't advertise much, but I'm on Sanjiang, so I still want to ask for Sanjiang votes. Friends who like this book, please support and encourage it. Thank you. There will be more than 5 updates today. Chapter 99 Packing the Earth. Ding tilde the spaceship that Li Jing was riding on extended a metal arm, on which was a gravity simulator. This device was extremely advanced and could simulate the functions and operations of the solar system. Whether it was the state of gravity or the exposure to sunlight, it could be imitated very well. The device was opened, and the mini version of the Earth was directly loaded into it. The arm was retracted, and the Earth was brought into the spaceship. The galaxy simulator was fixed. Li Jing looked at the Earth in front of him and didn't know what to say. Is the technology of this world too abnormal, or is the power of human beings really endless? Li Jing was still sighing here, but the human beings on the Earth were a bit messed up. Although everything around everyone seemed to have not changed, the drastic changes in the world could still be felt. Although most people didn't know what happened at all, the invisible panic gradually spread. Grew in Dr. Nafario, as well as many scientific research talents in the underground base, were all standing there in a daze at this time, stunned. It didn't matter whether the moon or other planets were shrunk. But what is the situation now? Didn't we agree to bring back another planet? Also, where do you want to take the Earth after shrinking it? And where can you go if the Earth is shrunk? Could it be that this big boss who kidnapped everyone is an alien? Regardless of Gru and others' thoughts, Li Jing drove the spaceship to the edge of the moon, shrunk the moon and took it back, then got on a small life support cabin and put the spaceship and the galaxy simulation device carrying the Earth and the moon into the Tattoo space system. Return. Please wait. Transmission will begin in 10 minutes. 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1, start transmission. In a trance, Li Jing returned to the silver space of the time and space system. This time of time and space travel should be the shortest one, but the harvest is huge. He directly packed up and brought back 2 planets. Hutoda. After taking a breath, Li Jing still dared not believe that it was so easy to do this. As for how to place the restored Earth, the Special Forces time and space should be able to do it for the time being. Master, congratulations, but your behavior this time is still too risky. Li Jing was stunned. What do you mean? The housekeeper smiled and said, every time and space has its own destiny. This is the saying of destiny. Your success this time is largely due to luck. Otherwise, the backlash of karma in time and space alone would be enough for you to bear. Li Jing frowned, feeling that the more he listened, the more mysterious it was. Was the next sentence going to be about some mythological metaphysics such as gods and immortals? Butler, can you explain it more clearly? I can only understand plain texts. Haha. The butler shook his head and smiled, saying, you can also regard this matter as the law of equivalent exchange. The more you steal in time and space, the more backlash you will suffer. This is the law of the universe and cannot be changed. Backlash, what is it? What will happen to me? Backlash is just a general term, and the most common punishment is bad luck. According to what you did this time, maybe you will be in a state of bad luck for the next few hundred years. What? Li Jing was suddenly shocked. Hundreds of years? It would be better to say that you are destined to die from bad luck in the future. When he looked up, Li Jing suddenly saw the butler's smile. His mind was shocked and slowly calmed down. Butler, you haven't finished what you want to say yet. Isn't it better to be more direct? Haha. The butler smiled again and said, what I said is what would happen under normal circumstances. What about now? Is it normal or abnormal? The butler shook his head. The role of the space-time system is huge, and the master will slowly experience it in the future. In this incident, the space-time system has also shielded and covered it for you. Otherwise you would not have returned safely. What about bad luck? No. What about the future? The butler looked at Li Jing again and said, it is not so easy to resist the backlash of a space-time. The cost is also huge, and the planet itself is not very useful. Do you have a special hobby of collecting these things? The master? Li Jing was stunned. He didn't expect the butler to complain. Was it because the impact was too great? I'm just asking, nothing else. After 2 dry coughs, Li Jing continued, then butler, how did I gain this time? How many points are there? 120,000 points. How many? Li Jing seemed not to hear clearly. 120,000, but now there are only about 20,000 left. and the rest have been used to block the consumption of space-time backlash. Li Jing was a little moved when he heard the number of 120,000. Was it because it would change the fate of too many humans? 120,000. Is this going to turn the slaves over and become landlords? If it happens again, you can immediately become an intermediate master selector. As if seeing through Li Jing, the housekeeper spoke again. Master selector, I advise you to temporarily dispel the idea in your mind. It's not that the thing can't be done, but your ability is still too weak. If the system itself hadn't taken action this time, the huge backlash force would have been enough to kill you thousands of times. So before you really grow up, it's better for you to take less risks. Li Jing heard it and nodded. It was true. Although the points were good, they were not as important as his life. The housekeeper's words were still very pleasant to hear. Although the food was good, it would not be good to eat too much and die of bloating. Without thinking too much, Li Jing asked the butler to open a big door, and then entered the door. Through the bridge of time and space, he came to the time and space of special forces. The end of the journey was a castle, which was the permanent place where Li Jing issued orders. Sky, notify the adjutant to come over. Okay, boss. Not long after, there was a knock on the door of the suite. The door opened, and the adjutant in military uniform entered. He took a few steps forward and saluted straight. Sir. Yes, Li Jing responded and waved his hand to signal the adjutant to put down his hand. How is Bailing now? Sir, he is now practicing in the training room almost every moment, and rarely walks outside. Li Jing nodded. Snake Eyes was dead, the murderer who killed Master Gang was dead, and the Lanning clan also suffered heavy casualties in the last incident. Bailing's mind was obviously more closed, and compared with before, the whole person was colder and colder. Go and call Dr. Abner over. Yes, sir. Li Jing waved his hand and the adjutant left the room. Dr. Abner was the top scientific researcher at the Cobra laboratory. He was not young anymore, almost 50 years old. When the doctor arrived, Li Jing handed him the galaxy simulation device along with a small Earth and Moon. Chapter 100, Shuttle Back and Forth. In the time and space of Despicable Me, the shrinking ray developed has a much stronger function, and can shrink the Earth for at least a month. But during this period of time, it is necessary to plan and calculate the best place for the Earth to return to its original state. All orbits in the solar system are regular, and it is impossible to place a life planet casually. The placement of the planet must be accurately and carefully studied and calculated. After explaining everything, Li Jing returned to the time and space system again. Butler, I want to use the creation furnace to forge equipment. Okay. As the butler waved his hand, the creation furnace appeared in a strange incense burner state. Li Jing curled his lips and threw the two most powerful ray devices into the furnace, one for the shrinking ray and the other for the expanding ray. After consuming another 4,000 points, the two ray devices were freshly baked. Li Jing reached out and grabbed the two devices directly. The two devices had undergone tremendous changes, but their volumes were only the size of peanuts, one red and one green. The cells controlled the operation of the supernatural power. Li Jing's right hand skin directly split open and swallowed the green contraction device. His left hand twisted the red device, which was also absorbed into the flesh and blood and disappeared. Butler, I want to start the fixed-point transmission. The butler was slightly stunned, then smiled slightly and nodded. The time and space is Naruto. The location is Kano and Ninja Village. As for the time, let's choose 1 month before the Uchiha clan was exterminated. Start searching time and space. The time was not very long. The housekeeper frowned slightly, and said, Master, the time and space you chose is a level 4 world. For you now, it is very difficult to change the history of this time and space, and the probability is very small. Housekeeper. Li Jing waved his hand to interrupt the housekeeper and said, I have carefully thought about the risk you mentioned before. Upgrading step by step is indeed very safe, but what is the essential difference between this and my life in reality? I know my mentality myself, and the system chose me at the beginning. Wasn't it because of this reason? The housekeeper was stunned, then nodded, and stopped persuading. It is indeed true, and the kung fu world that I entered at the beginning was not the simplest level 1. That was because the time and space system lacked energy, and it was no longer able to fully control the entire process of traveling through time and space. So it would happen that I entered the more dangerous high-level martial arts world, but Li Jing returned safely. So there is no absolute in everything. It seems hopeless, but there will always be a turning point. Choosing a host, fixed point transmission requires a lot of points, and this time we chose the 4th level spacetime. How many points are needed? 8,500 points. Li Jing nodded. This number is not unacceptable. There are still 23,000 points left. Excluding 8,500, there are still 14,500 points that can be used. The tattoo space does not need to be expanded for the time being, and weapons and skills do not need to be upgraded or replaced for the time being. Li Jing spent 3,000 points to buy a self-defense jade pendant, and spent 5,000 points to exchange for sus materials, and then bought 2,000 points of various spare sundries. But the last 4,500 points were not used again, as a reserve for emergency needs. Butler, let's start. There was no idea of returning to Earth to rest for 30 days. What Li Jing had to do was to take the initiative. The butler nodded and said nothing more. The silver ground rippled, and after a few seconds, a red gate slowly rose up. The gate was the same as usual, without any carvings or patterns, but the color had changed, and it was even larger than the previous white gate. Click. The gate opened, and the scenery inside the gate was also the faintly visible universe and stars. Li Jing took a breath and stepped into the gate. Kanoa 56 years. 4 years have passed since the aftermath of the Third Shanghai World War. The arrival of peacetime also means that the major ninja villages have rested and recuperated, slowly recovering from the post-war trauma and restoring the prosperity of the past. Kanoa, after the death of the 4th Hokage in the Nine Tails incident, the current 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen has once again taken power for 8 years. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen is old, under his leadership, Kanoa still survived the war tenaciously, and then once again worked hard to convey the will of fire. Unfortunately, darkness is always hidden under the light. On the surface, Kanoa is thriving, but now it is secretly surging with undercurrents and harboring filth, the blood of the roots, the secret struggles between the families, and the infiltration of spies from all sides. The seemingly intact Kanoa has already been corroded and riddled with holes. Li Jing suddenly appeared at a corner of Kanoa. He dodged and hid in an empty alley. The nano-worm equipment he was wearing changed automatically. In a few breaths, it changed into clothes similar to those of the people in Kanoa. When Li Jing appeared again, his appearance had become a very ordinary face. This kind of face can be found in a crowd in a few minutes. Kanoa? Li Jing smiled slightly, and then began to wander around the streets of Kanoa. With his supernatural power, Li Jing changed his appearance every once in a while, unless he was chased by a ninja dog. Don't think about finding him easily. After walking for a long time, Li Jing received the information conveyed by the tattoo space, and also roughly understood the various roads and directions of the Kanoa ninja village. Now there is still a month before the Uchiha clan is exterminated, and the protagonist Naruto and other little strong men should still be in school, and it will be a few years before they graduate. Instead of staying in a hotel, Li Jing found an ordinary family outside the Uchiha compound. This person is a bachelor, which meets Li Jing's needs. After interrogating and killing the host and destroying the body, Li Jing lived here with the appearance of the owner of this house. Time passed, and a month passed quietly. During this month, Li Jing stayed in the house most of the time every day, rarely wandered outside, and did not talk to people much. He had a chakra of the level of a pseudo-shadow, so it was better to avoid exposure. When the evening came, it was a dark and windy night for murder. The Uchiha clan was still unaware of it, and the murderer had already quietly attacked TSK after getting rid of another clan member. Uchiha said nothing with a cold face. The people of the route have surrounded the Uchiha station, and the masked mysterious man who calls himself Uchiha Madara should be watching in secret at this time. Carry all the sins? I hope all this is worth it. Whoosh! Uchiha suddenly turned around and shot a shuriken. With a slight sound, a huge poisonous snake was nailed to the ground. Uchiha's expression did not change. He slowly turned around and left, and then began the next step of the massacre. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.